What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Multidimensional Baddie podcast. I am your host, Elena Rose Dumaine, and today we are going to talk about why authenticity, authentic self-expression, and just generally being real are always going to manifest faster, easier, and more than high vibe only frequencies. Why letting yourself express yourself and speak your truth actually will lead you to the timelines that you want to be on way faster than illusory love and light and joy and love when really you're pissed off, right? And why just kind of letting yourself be yourself is the most important factor in your business, in your brand, in your life, and in your reality. So anyways, here we go. Oh my God, I recorded an intro. Did you hear that? And then he can just take it and he can cut it. And then it can be like da 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 da. Wait, it's the intro's coming in just a second. We're gonna have a celebratory bong hit, and then we're gonna have a sip of the coffee. It's like 11 in the morning. We're here. We're getting into it. The intro's coming, people. Come on, celebratory coffee hit with me. It had to be chaos. I mean, I was going to do something like, y'all thought I was going to come in and just be professional and not bring the chaos codes too. Please, honeys, baddies, you should know me better than that by now. Celebratory bong hit, eclipse season is over. Okay, now. Okay, that was great. That was fabulous. I'm wild. Hello, what's up, everybody? How are y'all? So, gonna take Michael a screenshot of that so he knows exactly. It was like 2 minutes in. Editing. So we don't do very much editing here. What's up, everybody? I've been transmuting for 4 days straight with this Virgo solar eclipse. And it was really good. It was a fabulous transmutation station experience for me. I love transmuting. I even have drawn and painted an entire deck of cards called The Grids of Transmutation, which will also be a book and will be out sometime in 2026. Don't know when. It's happening though. I'm setting it out there. I've been saying this all year, like the Grids of Transmutation is coming in 2026. I know it, like the book's done, they're all named. I've got to write descriptions, and then I'm going to start working with them as actual like cards before we start the like production process as I'm like writing the rest of the stuff to go along with the deck. But anyways, I'm super excited about it. But yeah, lots of transmutation. Just, purging of old shit, really. I feel like I've kind of just been like very ranty for a few months, and I'm going to be honest, it was because quite literally up until like, I'm gonna be honest, right now there's still been some stuff like, I've just found left, right, and center that a huge amount of women came into my space, which are you, and pretended to be my friend. And the entire time, and pretended that they were, oh yes, they were here. We were all jointly going to lead New Earth together. And they just admired my brand and everything I've done so much, until they realized they weren't going to be able to manipulate me. And I set a boundary with those people, and then they had a little BF meltdown about it, and then decided to go out and steal my brand language even harder. Like, it's crazy, right? But the truth is, when that shit's going on and you're in it, the most important thing you can do is to be authentic, right? I'm not going to be over here all fucking love and light and bullshit when when I'm not in that place. You know what I mean? Because I'm actually authentic, and I actually authentically express what is going on, what I'm feeling, when I'm feeling it. This is why I don't get stuck energy. This is why I don't get stuck in the same fucking bullshit year after year after year. This is why I'm not still paying the same people the same amount of money to teach me how to do the same thing year on end on year after year after year, right? Over and over and over again. This is why I actually make such insane progress in the ways that I do. And this is why I manifested every single thing I ever wanted before I was 33. Or by the age of 33. I was 33. So, and that actually did something really weird to my brain. Every manifestation I had ever had happened by the time I was 33. I was 33 when we got together, right? Yeah, so I was 33. So my 33rd year, I had manifested, the end of my 33rd year, I had manifested everything I ever wanted. And I didn't know what the fuck to do. And I literally, I felt like I had no manifestations left, right? I felt like I had nothing else that I wanted. And I knew that was logically kind of silly, but at the same time, I just didn't know, what else, right? And the reason that I was able to do that is because I didn't spiritually bypass myself. I have never, my entire career, my career's not been built on making people necessarily feel better. My entire career has been built on helping people get to a better place in their life where they don't have to feel like they need to feel better. Right? So I've always said my work is not a Band-Aid. My work is not for people who want a Band-Aid. If you want a Band-Aid, go to somebody else. My work is for people who are ready to pause while a truck careens down the mountains. And every time I hear that noise, I just imagine that they're driving on two wheels, just flooring it down the mountain. I'm convinced there's some Dominic Toretto shit going on outside my window every fucking time, just because it makes me happy. Okay? When I'm over here sending hate towards the truck driving down the mountain, I'm that doesn't make me happy. But when I envision that Helen Mirren's driving that truck down the mountain and she's in a heist, I'm in a much better, I'm go Helen! You know what I mean? Getting in the vibe. So, but also some days I'm just how dare you? I'm, doing that. But we can always choose to shift our vibration and how we view things. That's called a perspective shift, and that's always in our ability and wheelhouse to do so. And some days it's in alignment for me to be oh yeah, Helen Mirren's careening down the mountain doing a heist. Fucking Vin Diesel, right? That's a fabulous little movie that I just played out in my brain. It's given me a little giggle. It sparked some joy. It was authentic to how I'm feeling today. Whatever, I'm in a vibe. It's Tuesday. I was not in a vibe yesterday. It was Monday. And it was Moon Day. And I was finishing my 4-day transmutation station post-Virgo solar eclipse. I'm a Virgo South node. So that shit was clearing my attic out. That's how I describe calcination in alchemy, by the way. You're going in, you're shining a light in your closet, and you're going, damn, my whole family and a whole bunch of other people I don't even know left me a bunch of shit in this attic. Time to clean it out. That's that. And then the alchemical process is cleaning all the shit in the attic out and seeing oh my God, there's this fabulous painting in this gorgeous frame, and this is gonna go great in my living room. Thanks, Grandma Stacy. Versus ew, who left a 30-year-old dead salmon in here? You know what I mean? One of these things is valuable to us. One of these things is not. However, if you're a petrified salmon collector and you don't give one flying fuck about gilded framed art, you might not want that painting. You might be like, sell it in the estate sale. This salmon's going to tell me everything I need to know about DNA of salmon 30 years ago in Alaska. Hells yeah. That might be the most prized thing in the room for you. So alchemy is a very unique experience wherein people go into their own sub and unconscious minds to find the gold within. Autumn nostrum non est autumn vulgi. Okay, anyways, moving right on. Yes, the witch is back. If I'm not randomly quoting Latin, I need everyone to know I'm insanely depressed. When I stop quoting Latin for fun, everyone should just know I'm feeling depressy. Okay? Send me some funny gifts. Preferably of Helen Mirren pulling up. Or whatever, whatever. But you pull it up. I mean, if you want to screech up, like, pull it up! Get the spaceship! Hells yeah. Anyways, I'm feeling better. I'm feeling great. But the truth is, all summer, and pretty much always, this is just my thing, like, you're not going to hear something come out of my mouth in a way that's fake. I can't stand fakeness. Hi, Sunbeam. Oh, hi, love. Oh, that's my least fucking favorite thing. If you start your fucking reel about to drop your masterclass on me with hi, love, I'm going to vomit and I'm never going to pay you. It's not going to happen because it's just so insincere every fucking time, right? And the truth is that so many people right now are out there trying to sell an emotional connection when they need to be selling a service, a product, an item, an experience, a transformation, literally anything other than, oh, I'm your new biz bestie and mentor, and you want to pay me because you desperately want validation from an older female figure, right? That's just psychological manipulation masquerading as New Earth leadership. So we don't want to ever, emulate anything like that in our content, in how we're connecting with our audiences, in what we're doing. We want to be authentic because the truth is authenticity is what has brought me all of my success. If you're sitting here wondering, how does she do it? How did she do it? How does she continue to do it? I'm telling you what it is. I speak the truth and I speak with authenticity. I speak with compassion, but I also speak with a very grounded sense of I just do not deal with people fucking around, right? And that's why everyone who loves me, and that's why everyone who hates me. Okay, that's just what that is. Because the people who don't like me are the people who are wanting to blow smoke up other people's dresses and basically self-love. And I have never done that in my entire career. I've never done that in my entire life. I'm an extremely grounded, extremely practical person, which most people don't grasp how grounded and practical I am, but you're going to find out in this podcast episode because I'm going to give you some very distinct examples that you can literally go out today and start using to start manifesting and living in a more aligned way. Okay? So when you speak authentically, like Michael's sitting here literally so tired, I can tell how exhausted he is. And he will not just speak the truth about how tired he is right now, right? And so because he's got other things he wants to do and he's got things he thinks he should do and he's working on this cool new stuff and he's like, but I need to keep going. You know what I mean? Well, Michael actually has no pressure to do that, right? There's no real pressure to do that. That pressure's an illusion. So Michael could easily go take a nap. He wants to listen to me record this, but he could easily go take a nap, when I'm done with this. And that would be in the highest resonance of his authentic self-expression in that moment. And your authentic self-expression changes constantly. Okay? It changes all the time. Because you as a being are constantly, think about how many times a day you're like, oh, I'm thirsty. But 5 minutes ago, you weren't thirsty. Okay, is it inauthentic for you to be thirsty now? No, you just weren't thirsty 5 minutes ago, right? Like I wasn't thirsty when I started this recording, and 13 minutes in of talking, I'm thirsty now. I need a drink of water. So it's in my authentic self-expression to take a drink of water. Most people would either force themselves to keep recording with dry mouth, maybe start kind of tripping over their words, maybe start kind of like getting distracted, getting off path because they're literally just sitting there thinking about how much water they need, or they would edit that out. I'm going to take another drink and we ain't editing shit. Because do you know why? If you can't handle the fact that I'm a person and I need a drink of water because I get thirsty after talking for almost 14 minutes, I absolutely cannot talk to you. You do not have the level of consciousness to have a conversation with me. We're going to drive each other crazy. It's not going to be in resonance. Please just don't. Okay? If you need the illusion that people don't need to take a drink of water while they're recording their podcast because you can't break the matrix in your brain that you've been sold an overproduced reality, we're going to have issues here, right? So it's not going to be aligned for us to work together. It's just not, because you're a person who needs a drink of water after 14 minutes too. And I recognize that about you. But if you can't recognize that about me, this isn't going to work because I have a higher level of consciousness automatically from what I just said. I can recognize that you are a being with needs. And if you can't recognize that I'm a being with needs, you need to go out and diversify that soul mechanics portfolio and have a little bit more empathy, compassion, and understanding for your fellow people around you. You know what I mean? Like, that's what that means. So for me, that's just a boundary and a standard that I have, right? And if you need people to be out there being perfect, it's because you feel like you need to be perfect. I don't feel like I need to be perfect. I feel like I need to be real. I have a bachelor's degree in theater. I was not trained to be perfect. I was trained to be real. Art isn't perfect. Art isn't all just pretty. Art isn't just some perfect little joyous, beautiful, loving illusion of reality. Art is everything. Like, I've got really bad, my period started today. Oh my God, I'm recording a podcast on the day my period started. All the feminine embodiment coaches would tell you not to do that. But this is what I wanted to do. I saw a video this morning that was talking about how the highest frequencies are actually emitted from people's authentic self-expression. Not from love, not from joy, from authenticity. Someone can be feeling that they are in the pure frequency of bliss or love or joy or whatever, and thinking that they are putting out the highest frequency on the face of the earth. But that's because people do not understand that frequency is actually science. It is measured scientifically. Michael can tell you all about it when he's not this tired. And like, it's numbers. You can't fake out the numbers. Like, you can be like, oh, the vibes, all you want. But like, we're talking about actual science right now. Okay? So when you measure these things, someone can be emitting a way higher frequency by expressing their anger, their grief, their sadness. These seemingly, from the spiritual matrix, low vibe emotions actually have a way higher emittance of energy and frequency presence than the things that we're told are high frequency states of being. Okay? The most high frequency cosmic location in this universe is Arcturus. It's also the most resonant. People cry in Arcturus all the time. Arcturus is where you go if you need to go put yourself in a pocket dimension and then destroy it because you've seen so much bullshit, you just can't fucking handle it anymore and you don't want to cause any harm. Because you can do that there. Arcturus is a place of limitless and infinite creation where you can create and destroy what you need to according to your own vibrational, authentic self-expression. So we've had beings that had such a devastating time on a planet that the only way that they could really alchemize that was to destroy that planet. Rather than them destroying that planet, we took them to Arcturus and gave them a little pocket dimensional rage room that looked like it had a planet inside and just let them go to town. But there was actually nothing to destroy in there. It was just the illusion. It was like a rage room, right? And then when they were able to, because we had massive interdimensional and cosmic trauma that happened with all of these wars, with all of the matrices, with all of this bullshit. And when we started to begin the process of, and when I say we, I mean the team that I work on extra incarnationally. Like, so I came into this incarnational experience, part of a team that has been working on a project to restore resonance, to a variety of macroversal regions that entered into extreme disresonance for some reason or another. Some of those locations, it wasn't even war. It was environmental issues that, like one species on a planet was dying, the other species on a planet was dying. But if this two species worked together, they could help each other and they could thrive. Right. So sometimes it was things like that. And sometimes species will get a little bit close to those like warlike frequency statuses, simply out of like survival needs. But if you can go in and you can kind of look at the environment, look at the issues, look at what's going on that's causing the disresonance, and then you can create, pathways for that disresonance to turn into resonance, then you don't have those issues anymore and everybody can just live happily and thrive and do whatever it is that they're wanting to do, right? So this portion, this cosmolocal region, this area of this universal regional area, however you want to think about it, right, entered into a massive frequency range of a variety of disresonant frequencies because people really went through a lot. And when you are trying to bypass what every individual on this planet alone has gone through in the incarnational experience that everyone alive today is experiencing, when you try to bypass that and just, but it feels so good to be in love and joy and bliss and, all of this stuff, but you don't actually authentically self-express, no one is actually just sitting here feeling good right now. I don't believe it. I don't believe anyone on this planet is actually 1,000% feeling good right now. And I think if you are, that's a big old red flag. I'm going to be honest. Because if you are psychic, if you are actually a mystic, if you are actually someone who is spiritually tapped in, if you're actually an alchemist, first of all, a real alchemist is going to cry with the collective. A real alchemist is going to alchemize for the collective. A real alchemist is going to experience for the collective. That's what I do. I am one. Okay? So when we do this is the authentic self-expression of the transmutation process that takes us to that genuine frequency of authenticity. But everybody's trying to get to a frequency of bliss, to a frequency of joy, to a frequency of love, to a frequency of there are no problems, to an illusion, right? Rather than just sinking into the authentic self-expression. And sometimes that looks like crying. Sometimes that looks like being in bliss. Sometimes that looks like being joyful. Sometimes that looks like just the pure frequency of love. Sometimes that looks like being a cunt on your podcast because you need to express all of the other cunts that you have encountered that have brought out that cunt frequency in you. And if you don't give that somewhere else to live, it's going to live within you for an eternity. You're never going to get rid of it. This is real alchemy. You have to give the lead somewhere else to go. That is the process of transforming it into gold. Transforming the lead into the gold is giving those dense, authentic self-expressions light. Right? And it's putting them where they need to go. Does your picture need to go on the wall? Does the salmon need to go in the trash? Does the salmon need to go to a research lab? And does the painting need to be sold? What is the authentic self-expression for the individual? And that's all we're looking for. We're not looking for who's better. We're not looking for who's bright. We're not looking for who's been doing this longest. We're not looking for who's got the most money invested, who's done this the most amount of hours, who's the most. We're not looking for who's the highest vibe. The secret is to be the most authentic. Your most authentic. You can't be someone else's most authentic. So it's really funny to me when I see people like preaching authenticity and then they're literally using like my stolen brand language. That's something I saw this weekend. That was really funny for me. I was just laughing my ass off because I was like, at some point you just have to realize like you're talking to a brick wall of people who do not have the consciousness level to converse with you. And they think they do. And they will desperately try to prove that they do by dragging you to their consciousness level. And when you just go back to where you naturally sit, you recognize they never had that level to really speak with you in the way that you speak. They were always going to misunderstand you because that's where they're at. And this is the compassion key. With love, we leave them where the fuck they are. right? And that's the thing. Alchemy meets you where you are and then takes you where you want to go. And if an individual, though, is really committed to self-preservation and preservation of the matrices that they live in, they don't want to go anywhere. So they just want to have these experiences, and then they want to talk about how they're grounding them into their real life, but then we never really see any forward movement, which is why we typically see this manifestation hamster wheel that I talk about in all my manifestation programs. They're in Luxury Witch Lifestyle. Literally, you can get all my manifestation programs in Luxury Witch Lifestyle. Luxury Witch Lifestyle is less a month than one of my manifestation programs, just an FYI. I teach how to live this because I've lived a manifestation lifestyle for a decade, right? But not in the way that most people teach it. I am extremely practical about it, and I'm very focused on like, what are the very real things that you need? So this is also part of the authentic self-expression, and this is the next aspect that I want to get into in this episode. So many people are out there trying to manifest illusions. I want to speak on stages and be a millionaire and marry the man of my dreams and, just blah, 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 right? Very vague. Rather than, I need $2,000 to pay the rent by Friday. Now, do you know who I have seen every single fucking time manifest the thing and who I've seen not? The person who said, I need $2,000 to pay the rent by Friday, always gets the manifestation. Even if it's Friday morning at 9 a.m. That shit's going to come through. Boom. Rent paid. Moving right along. The people you don't see actually shifting their reality via manifestation are the people who are so vague in just this illusion of this like ideal of themselves. Right? When I say I need to manifest $2,000 to pay the rent by Friday, I don't, but I used to. And I used to use this all the fucking time, right? I would be in there sometimes. My rent's now paid with automatic payments, so that's great. That's why I'm a really big fan of people paying for their necessities with very strategic ways. And I'm going to talk about that before the end of this episode, so just hold on. But back in the day, I think the most I had in MRR was about $1,000 prior to the shift in 2023. Now I've got over 5 times that. So all my bills are paid with MRR. I'm not concerned about my basic survival now. And so that puts you into a different frame of reality. When I was in that old paradigm, I would be, it was very much, there was always money coming in. There was always a ton of money coming in, but it was sporadic and I didn't know when it was going to happen. And pretty much every single day money came in, but it was varying amounts. And then I had varying bills, and I had a lot more bills back then too, right? I've learned how to decrease my financial expenditures to increase my financial stability. And that has been a really fabulous thing for me to learn that's really helped me with just feeling like I have more security and stability when it comes to money, right? But back in the day, I didn't. And when I didn't, and I really was stressed out about I've got to pay the rent today, I got to send the check today, and then the money's got to be in the bank within 3 days. Because I paid for my house. They only accepted checks. It was really weird. And they lived in California. So I had to mail a check from Texas to California. In 2021, I was mailing checks from Texas to California it's 1992. It was actually really fun. I liked it. I love a good checkbook situation. It's the only reason I haven't used a checkbook since. I don't even have a checking account anymore right now. I don't have a checkbook. I completely changed how I bank, so I don't use a checkbook anymore. I have no need for a checkbook. I haven't needed a checkbook since I left that house. That's the only thing I have not used a check for anything other than that house since 2018. I don't think I've used a check since 2016, maybe 2015 for anything else. Maybe getting my lawn done once, and I think maybe I paid a house cleaner one time with a check. But she only worked for me one time. She didn't come back, and then I got a new house cleaner I just PayPal'd her. It was great. So, great for her and great for me. She got the money immediately and I didn't have to write a check or go get cash. But back in the, or, you know, like sometimes, I mean, I've also like, I was the sole client of my house cleaner in 2020. She was a single disabled mom with a disabled child. And I was like, I'm going to be damned if I'm not going to make enough money to keep supporting this woman during this fucking pandemic. I was like, it was her, that was like a personal thing for me. It was clearly a cosmic contract, but I was determined. Like I wasn't going to cut her hours. I wasn't going to cut my assistant's hours. And during the pandemic, I actually paid my house cleaner about double what I had been paying her because I started finding all these projects around my house to pay her extra for because she told me she had lost all her clients when the pandemic hit. She was like, she didn't go out or anything. Like she only came to my house and her house. Like that was it. Like, and it was great. I found all these little projects she cleaned out my garage. She broke down all the boxes that were sitting in there from all of the spell work material orders that have been sitting there. She did a deep clean. We did all kinds of stuff. And then I also gave my assistant a raise during the pandemic too. So I was very, very, very determined to not be a shitty boss during the pandemic like so many other people I was seeing. Other people were cutting their assistants' hours and salaries, and I was raising mine. And it was a point of pride, and I'm still proud about it because it was stressful, and it was honestly very hard for me to do that. Like, it took a lot of planning and anxiety and what the fuck am I going to do and just trusting that I was going to be okay and I knew what to do and it was going to show up, and it did. But by letting myself actually, like, sometimes I would be feeling very anxious, like, oh my gosh, you know, my house cleaner's coming tomorrow and I don't I have the money to pay her, but then I'm going to feel stressed out. Well, guess what? Her exact money would show up the next morning. Right? And I would let myself be like, I'm stressed out about this, but I'm going to figure out how to make it happen. If I just have to pay her and I have to feel like I have a little bit less that I'm comfortable with having in my bank account, I'm going to pay her and I'm just going to make that back. And every time it would happen because I let myself be real. That is the most important thing that you can do, is to let yourself be real. If you're feeling stressed out about something, feel stressed out about it. Don't bypass that shit. And don't say, oh, well, I'm just choosing to tune into a different frequency. Honey, at some point, you might be 55, 60. You might have excarnated. You might be on a different planet. That shit's going to come up to bite you in the ass. Okay? You're going to have to feel it at some point. And that's what we learned when we started. I've had all, you know, I unlocked so many of my memories through the extensive and crazy dream work I've done for 15 years now. So I started doing past life, astral, actual journeys into the timeline and reliving, like walking the timeline itself, retracing like every, like if I had a memory in a forest, I was walking in that forest, like consciously in, like bilocating. I started doing that when I was 19 years old and no one taught me how to do it. I just started having memories. And then I was like, didn't know what I was seeing. I didn't know I was having memories. And then it was like, ooh, I want to see more. Right. And then I just started following the rabbit trail. And that's what I've done. You know, just Alice jumped right in the rabbit hole. And that's what I've done ever since. And it's not to prove to anybody that I'm, spiritual leader of New Earth, blah, 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 guru. Like, I fucking hate that shit, if I'm being honest. Like, I fucking hate that shit. I hate it. I can't fucking stand it because it's not real. It's not real. And these people aren't real. And they're not being real. And the truth is, one day, that'll come out. Just like, do you guys remember hearing me talk about I've been to Richard Branson's private island twice, lady? Oh, y'all, she popped up on a sponsor. I forgot I didn't remember this woman's name. I only interacted with her one time on Threads. She popped up on a sponsored post on my Instagram feed today. I thought this was interesting because I had cast a revelation spell this weekend for all of like the fake businessy people, particularly masquerading in the spiritual spaces. Oh, and guess who rebranded herself in February to be exactly that? Richard Branson's private island twice, lady. Then I went down a little rabbit hole. You can find out anything if you Google hard enough, and these people all think you can't, but you can. Yeah, It's actually just part of a mastermind that they call invite only, but you can apply to. It's not invite only if I can apply to it. It's invite only if I can't apply to it, and you have to pick me to send the invitation. That's what invite only means. It's not apply for your invitation here. I think these people have maybe never thrown an exclusive dinner party, and it shows. But if you've never heard of the concept of present your invitation at the door to prove that you were invited, maybe look it up and see how parties are actually hosted in polite society. I don't know. It's just a concept. Like, watch some Gilded Era documentaries. Learn how the Vanderbilts threw a party. I don't know. It's some concepts. Anyways, yeah, I love me some Biltmore vibes. George Vanderbilt was hot. I don't give a fuck. I think it's the most badass thing in the world. Nobody understands what George Vanderbilt did. He took the family fortune that was generated through political manipulation, which was also kind of a badass thing if you read the history, how it happened, because the New York Harbor had a monopoly on it from this one dude. And George's ancestor, Cornelius, was like, he was from Jersey at that point. And he was like, yo, this is mad fucked up. What do you mean I can't come into your harbor? Excuse the fuck out of you. And sailed right on into the New York Harbor, probably via buying some people off, to be honest, with a flag that said something to the effect of like, Jersey must be free or something like that. Like flying into the New York Harbor, like, you know, on his ships. I can't remember. I can't remember the exact verbiage of what was on Cornelius Vanderbilt, the first flag that he sailed into the harbor, but it was iconic. And so, yeah, he made all this money through a variety of means. And then a couple generations later, the fourth son went out. So his older brother, I think it was, or maybe it was an uncle. Anyways, some relative of George Vanderbilt built the biggest house in New York. And George was like, hold my beer. And built the biggest house in all of fucking America. Which, by doing so, he generated like the first fully sustaining, like self-sustaining estate that's still operational now, that was functioning in a way that had not, you know, estates hadn't functioned, especially in like the Gilded Age. Like estates didn't function to produce any more wealth. Estates functioned to display the wealth that had already been produced. So George wanted to produce a self-sustaining estate, but also he took the remainder of that family fortune and spent it on his big house, collected a metric fuck ton of art, and then just like vibed in it until he removed himself from the planet. And I think that's pretty fucking fabulous. So anyways, this one's to George Vanderbilt. Love you. I was around in the 19-somethings. Probably ran into him a few times. There's going to be some people out there that know the story and are just going to be cackling. And if you don't know the story, that's fine. Maybe one day you'll hear it. Anyways, so when you're in your authentic self-expression and you're just kind of rambling on about your little historical, seemingly unimportant points, or you're having a cough because you just hit the bong, or you're having a big rant, right? I cannot tell you how much the Rose rants have made me. Rose rants have made me so much money because Rose rants were a factor of so many of my altar updates for so many years. And the reason why people loved them and why they brought me so many new clients, helped unlock so many things for so many people, were because it was authentic self-expression. And when I start ranting about something, are you going to authentically self-express and go lay down, honey?
Yes, I will.
All right, Michael. No, do it. Authentically self-express. I love you.
I love you too.
Go have a nap. See? Fabulous. So, when you authentically self-express, your people can find you. So when you stop trying to be perfect, when you stop hello, sunbeam, right? That just is like, ugh, please don't. You know what I mean? When you're constantly trying to be in a good mood, to be perfect, to be XYZ, so that people will think that you're always upholding this brand that you want to project into the world, that's just an illusion. You're a person with feelings, right? We hope. We hope you are. I hope so. You are a being who deserves to be heard in all of their authentically self-expressed glory, right? And when you do that, you will express how you really feel about things. So one of the things that I would rant about the most back in the day on my Ultra updates, you can still find them on Instagram, was love bindings. I fucking hate love bindings. You want to hear the rant? If you've never heard the rant, I'm going to do it for you real quick. Hold on. Let's go get a cup of coffee while I'm doing this. I need a top up. So I fucking hate the concept of love bindings. I have had people try to cast love bindings on me before. So I have personally experienced this. This is how I became aware of this issue and what to do about it. This dude who was totally like trying to be Michael interdimensionally, who wanted me barefoot and pregnant in the kitchen. And I was like, bro, I ain't even into you. Like, I'm never even going to go on a date with you. I'm certainly not going to be barefoot and pregnant in no kitchen for you. Hell no. Right? This guy also practiced magic. And this was back in 2017. And this motherfucker tried to cast a love binding on me. And I was like, oh, hell no. Took care of that real quick. But based on the experience that I had, I went out and I started talking to people, you know, just like if you've ever experienced, because I was like, is this what this is like? So I went out and I described the experience. Again, it's authentic self-expression, right? Like, I was not, you know, you have to remember when Harvest Rose took off in 2017, 2018, I had really bad CPTSD to the extent that I would actually have complete, like, I would forget where I was when I was having a PTSD attack. I would actually, like, the walls would start to morph and look different, and I would start to forget where I was. Like, I mean, like, full immersion PTSD attacks. Like, I was having them multiple times a week. Right? So if you're sitting here thinking like, oh, you need to be completely healed or XYZ to help people, to start a business, to do all the things, that's not true. Okay? And that's not something that you should expect of yourself. There's nothing wrong with you. You don't need to, I'm not going to tell you don't have things that you might need to heal or that you might need to bring to a higher state of resonance for yourself. I'm not going to say that. I'm going to say that there's nothing wrong with you. You just have maybe some stuff to let yourself continuously shift through. I've been shifting through what some people would refer to as like the same stuff for a decade. But the truth is it's never the same stuff. It's deeper levels of very complex, extensive trauma that I experienced over 28 years of my life and more. That takes some time to shift through. Whatever, you know, people expect themselves to, like, you know, because the industry has rotted our brains right now with all of these, you know, oh, come to my masterclass and then you'll be completely transformed in 1 hour. Well, did it take you 1 hour to get traumatized? Because here's the thing, right? And this is my issue with a lot of these people who call themselves trauma-informed but have never actually worked in the psych or mental health industries. I have. And I tend to prefer to work with people who have as well. Fun fact. because they just have a level of the brain and knowledge of things that somebody who did a trauma-informing coach certification, they don't have. You don't know what it's like when someone's going through a psychotic break. I've watched it a million fucking times, right? Maybe not a million, but I've watched it. I've watched it more than a few. When you have worked in those environments, you just have a completely different perspective on life. And that's very helpful in these scenarios, I find. Forgot what I was talking about, though. That means we have to have a bong hit. This is so weird. I never record alone. What do you mean Michael's in the other room? Forgot what I was talking about. And that's okay. 'Cause it's my authentic self-expression. Yeah. I would never let myself do that. 2 years ago, I wouldn't. A year ago, I was like so anxious about letting people hear my real voice. It changes all the time. My voice changes all the time. I speak in different voices all day. It's all me. I just enter into different frequency ranges of reality, and then I talk in different ways because that's just how I am. It's me channeling my own selves, my own coven of one. That's the whole concept of coven of one, is like there's all these yous, and then you can tap into them. And my me's just kind of effortlessly just like roll through because it's all me, and we're all connected, right? Anyways, I can't believe I found out Richard Branson's private island lady is just in a mastermind. That's it. I found it. Did I finish that story? I don't think I did. She's just in a mastermind that she pays for that goes to Richard Branson's private island every year. And there's no shade in that. You know what I mean? The shade is in pretending like you're a personal friend of Richard Branson's and you got invited to his private island because you're such a badass entrepreneur and I'm an idiot when you don't know me from Adam's House Cat. Like, I'm not the one paying people with a website that looks like it is a literal pest control place. Y'all, this was embarrassing. These people need to do something about their website. I'm like, well, you might go to Richard Branson's private island, but your website looks like trash. Okay? Like, maybe y'all should hire us to help you with that because we clearly could. Anyways, I just can't. It shocked me. See, but revelation spells, the magic will always come out. And like, I wasn't even thinking about that lady. I didn't think I was ever going to see that lady again. And I was like, is that Richard Branson lady? And guess what? In her sponsored post, oh yeah, she was shticking it. How did I end up on Richard Branson's private island? And I was like, there's no way. There's no way this is not Richard Branson lady. And I clicked on her profile. And it was Richard Branson lady. So we found her. There she is. She needs to tap into her authentic self-expression. I cannot remember what I was talking about a second ago, so we're just going to move on. So anyways, I was talking about my rose rant. I was talking about how much I fucking hate love bindings. That's what I was fucking talking about. Oh, see, and when you let yourself just go, I forgot, let's move on. That's when I always remember it because I let myself express what I was resisting. I forgot because I was thinking, damn, I should really remember what I'm fucking doing. I'm recording this podcast episode. Like, people listen to me. Like, that's the tape that was playing in my head. But then I let myself just go, and you know what? I'm a person, and sometimes I forget things too. And I have little brain thoughts, and I have big brain thoughts, and that's fine. I'm allowed, and I can just move on because I'm fucking fabulous. And then that's when you stop resisting, and then the resistance stops persisting. What you resist persists, okay? So what you resist is always going to persist. If you're sad and you're resisting just feeling sad, y'all, to do this, I put on Steel Magnolias and I'm going to start crying. Especially the scene, the funeral, when Malin's losing her shit. Sally Fields did just like That was such a fucking masterful performance. And just the emotion that she had in there about, losing her child. I would say that like the scene where Cedric Diggory's father is like wailing over him and, Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire, like that scream that comes out of Amos Diggory, the character's mouth when he realizes that Cedric's dead and, the band's playing and everybody around him is just like, celebrating everything and he's screaming, right? Like I almost want to start crying. I screamed like that in the yard where we found Sally. I did. It's the second time in my life I've ever been aware that someone was screaming and then realized it was me. It's only happened twice. It happened in my wreck, and it happened when we found Sally. See, and it's fine if you randomly start crying because you need to authentically express what you're experiencing in your feelings. And when you do that, I'm literally transmuting live with you guys right now, right? Like, and that's what I do. I do all of this shit in public so you can see what it's like. I'm not just out here having a BF for my own sake. I could do that quietly behind the scenes and no one would ever know about it. When I cry on a podcast episode, when I speak about things that other people won't talk about, when I talk about stuff in a frequency that is triggering or that is maybe even overwhelming at times, it's because I'm doing this on purpose in public for the collective. First house stellium. I live and lead by example. So I never had anyone to tell me that this was okay. I've never seen a business coach. I've never seen anyone talk about entrepreneurship. I've never seen anyone talk about any of these things who told people that these feelings were okay and normal and natural. And if you just let yourself feel them and you don't repress them, right? If I was sitting here resisting that I wanted to have a little cry because I was talking about Sally and that horrible moment, right? I felt something about that. It bubbled up. I needed to express that. When I resist that, when I shove that down to go do that by myself in a later time period, that's where we start sparking loneliness. That's where we start sparking feeling like we're not seen. That's where we start limiting that authentic self-expression because we're putting on an illusion for the public. And, that's what Sally dying did for me. It broke all my illusions. Because I couldn't stop crying. And I talk to her all the time. I just miss her. And the experience was so traumatic, like what happened it was like I can't describe the frequency of that weekend and what that experience was like. It was a level of trauma that I didn't know existed. I knew it existed, but I had never, personally experienced it. But it was a frequency range I didn't know it existed, I guess is the way to put it, right? You hear about people having traumatic experiences, but those people don't talk about the frequency range that you're in when you're having that traumatic experience. And it's not a normal frequency range. It's not even a physical frequency range. It's very much a liminal space. And it's an interesting concept. We've got a live thought developing. Hold on. Happen to be a bit of an expert in liminal spaces. Got this funky tattoo on me arm in 2017. It's a sigil of liminal space. And I'm always in liminal spaces, so I was like, let's just anchor in that this is part of our reality and then it will feel better. And you know what? I was right. I was having a really difficult time dealing with the fact that my entire existence has been like lived in a liminal space, has been lived in the in-between, has been lived with kind of multiple faces, as one could say, right? Multiple perspectives, multiple viewpoints. And I was I was very aware of that. I was very aware of that being a core factor of my being as a being, not just as Elena, right? Not just as Rose, not just as who I am right now on this planet, but as a consciousness, as an existence, as a source of badassery. Right? And so I started really letting myself anchor into like, that is where my power is. My power is in the in-between. My power is in the unknown. My power is in the darkness. I was born in the darkness. Raised in it. Yes, I was. I did. One point in time, I sprang into existence. I was a thought concept. That's why I like thoughts and concepts, because I was one. I was a thought concept. And I was just hanging out, like in space somewhere. There was some really pretty cosmos playing. They were having like a little dance, just a few light years tall. No big deal. Everything was really vast. There were no planets. There was no time. There were no physical forms. And then, slowly, over time, as when it came into existence, stuff started happening. Time was also a thought concept. Flows started flowing, forms started forming, planets started planeting. And now we're here. So anyways, let's hit the bong about it. Welcome to a brief history of everything. That was it. According to me, it might be different according to you. I don't know when you sprang into existence as a thought or a concept, or if that's even, maybe you originated as an idea. I was a thought and a concept. And it's worked out well for me across and beyond time and space. So let's hit the bong in cheers of that. Let's have a celebration hit, everybody. See, we've covered the full range of emotions. I think that's really the thing about me is like, I can cover the full range of emotions in 55 minutes. And people are like sometimes like, what the fuck? And I'm just like, yeah, it's because I installed Alchemy. It runs 24/7. Alchemy is an operating system. But that's what it is. Alchemy is an operating system. So I have it running 24/7 in the background. I don't have to consciously run the alchemical process anymore. When I started, I didn't have to consciously run the alchemical process. It's the observer effect. When I was unaware of what the alchemical process was, I was naturally doing it 24/7. And that's how Harvest Rose took off. That's how I ended up healing my PTSD. That's how I ended up doing all the things that I did between the years of 2017 and 2021. In 2021, I became aware of the alchemical process and studied it. And I might actually have a certification from that class, to be honest. I never paid attention to find out if I got one. No, I did. I technically have a certification in alchemy, but I never. I also have a certification in crystal healing, but I never actually completed the certifications because I wasn't doing it for the certification part. I had been in the classes before they were like before you got the certification at the end, and I wasn't in the classes for the certification. I was just in the classes for the classes. I just do academics for the academics, y'all. Okay, I'm just a nerd, right? But anyway, so I was in this alchemy class, and I was like, oh, I'm so excited to learn alchemy. So a piece of magic I've never worked with. Ha! And then in the intro to alchemy that happened a month before the class started, it was December of 2020, I had this extremely rude awakening. And I realized my entire magical system that I had designed, developed, and, spread throughout the lands, it was all based on alchemy. And I was like, oh, fuck, I already know this. It was so funny. So anyways, that's why I never finished the certification, because I'm going to be honest, I never finished that year because I didn't need to. But Because I realized I had been doing it. That was it. That is the alchemical process is exactly how I've done every single spell work consultation I've ever done. We burn it down to the bones. We calcinate that shit. The reading itself is the catalyst. We calcinate everything. We burn it down to the bones. We take a look at what you want to keep, what you don't want to keep, and then we just start distilling that shit, right? And then we distill that shit, and we distill that shit, and we distill that shit, and then they come out into a new sphere of reality. And then what happens is they're like, oh my God, there was more. Ew, what's that over there? Guys, there's a rattlesnake in the corner. I thought the dead salmon was bad enough, and I was very happy with the painting, but did you know that okay, the rattlesnake's dead, but dear God, somebody's got to carry this out. Oh, like it stinks. It's horrible, right? So that's the dark night of the soul. And then what they realize is that the dead rattlesnake was them all along, and this is why I call the dark night of the soul, which is stage 5 of the alchemical process, being Luke Skywalker in Yoda's swamp fighting himself. Right? Because you realize that the whole time Darth Vader is you. And then what happens is Darth Vader chases you through the swamp while you're realizing that. And that's the spirals of the 6th dimension that a lot of people get stuck in, is like thinking that they're like fighting Darth Vader when the whole time Darth Vader was themselves. And then what happens is when you pop through the 6th stage of alchemy, that's when you realize like, oh, I'm getting chased by shadows of myself. Maybe I should just have a dance party with them. And then the alchemical marriage is having a dance party with yourself. And then you can take this entire process and you can apply it to literally anything. The alchemical process is the exact same process that we utilize for healing, for manifestation, for spell work. We also utilize this for a very complex duet alchemical process called the hieroskamos. This is talked about a lot in false twin flame mythology. They usurped the hieroskamos process from the real alchemical codes and decided to try to make it something that it wasn't. The hieroskamos is when a couple that has already gone through an alchemical process on their own comes together and goes through the alchemical process again together. Michael and I did a slightly variated version of the hieroskamos. Not gonna lie, the one we did was kind of like playing on God mode. Which was appropriate, I suppose. You know, when you're a baddie, you're a baddie. Michael had not completed the full alchemical process on his own prior to us getting together. He had started it, he had gotten stopped. And that's what happens with most people. Most people stop in stage 5. They hit the dark night of the soul and they go right back to a comfy stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, or stage 4. Most people never progress past stage 5, which is also, this may have already dropped into your head, but this is also why 5D is the name of the game and not 7D for the spiritual mainstream people, because you have to fight through the hounds of the 6th dimension. You have to fight your own shadows, realize they're your shadows, and then start having a dance party with your shadows because you realize there's nothing to fight. It's all you, and you're a multidimensional baddie. You don't need to fight yourself. Oh, did you just realize what being a multidimensional baddie means? Oh shit, y'all. It actually is all about alchemy. Everything I've done comes down to alchemy. Even my chakra work goes down to alchemy. My chakra work bases everything off of a 9 chakra code system because I include the Earth Star and the Soul Star as the basics. And then we have the extra basics. I haven't come up with a good name for this. I'm still working on my naming system for the cosmic chakra system. I don't even know if that's what I'm going to call it yet. That's the working title. Okay. But because we also have a variety of other chakras that we work with, like, for example, the stellar gateway chakra is pretty much the most important chakra that you will ever activate and connect with. And a chakra is an energetic processing system. It is a system that filters all of your energy through it, gives you information about it's really a code-based system as well. It's not actually spiritual. Like people think, like people really got the wrong end of the shtick for everything in this spiritual matrix. Went out and started telling a bunch of lies that sounded good, but were just 2 degrees to the left. But honey, 2 degrees to the left will get you hundreds of miles off course. Okay. So anyways, it's a whole thing. It's coming. It's in process. We're working on it. But the alchemical process even takes you into the main 7 chakras do represent the main 7 stages of alchemy. There are extra processes, like there are extra chakras. There's extra dimensional layers of reality, right? So one of the things that I started to learn, I really randomly started, I haven't finished my chakra painting series yet, but when I started it, I realized that there are liminal spaces between each of the chakras. So there's a liminal space between your root chakra and your sacral chakra, connecting the two. Then there's a liminal space between your sacral chakra and your solar plexus, connecting the two. And then so on and so forth. For all of the chakras, to include many we have not discussed here in this moment in time. Like, did you know that you have chakras in your hands? Yeah. You have hand chakras. You have chakras in your feet, knees. I think there might be chakras in your shoulders, but they seem to be like almost like sub-processing centers. And they are circular, but it's like a circular, it's a CD-ROM, guys. Your chakras are like CD-ROMs. Is that the right word? I don't know. It's been a long time since I said that. What's the floppy disks? What's the floppy disks? I don't know what that means, but that's a code for somebody. Tell me what the floppy disks are. Anyways, so all of it functions on the basic alchemical processes. And when you know them, so what I did was I was unconsciously running all of it perfectly. Then I introduced the observer effect. I became aware of the alchemical process. And then I had to go through the whole fucking thing again. Like on a really hardcore, very visceral, very conscious level, right? So that I could then observe what all of the stages were like. So I did that. Then, now, it's back to running. Like, it was always running automatically. And it only took me, I think it was in, the fall of 2021 or so that I realized, I was like, I could just install this shit to run automatically. Like, I don't need to sit down and burn everything down to the bones every fucking time I'm pissed off about something. I need my brain to do this automatically because I'm pissed off about shit all the time. And as a manifester, when I'm pissed off about something, it's a sign that something's not in alignment. And because I work on a collective scale, when I get angry about something, I'm experiencing something as an individual that is out of alignment for myself and the collective. Which collective that is? Whoever I'm working for. You think I'm here on a fucking pleasure? You think I paid myself to come to Earth? Ha! Think I'd pay to go to Earth myself? Now? Right now? Are you kidding me? I could have paid to go so many other fucking nicer places in this universe alone. Much less a different one. No, honeys, I'm getting paid to be here, okay? This is why they pay me the big bucks. I'm just good at my job, all right? And that happens to be alchemy. So we are in the 6th year of the planetary alchemical process, which I have been talking about mostly behind the scenes prior to now. This year, as we move through year 6 and year 7, I'm going to be talking about it more publicly. But it's very simple. It's actually alchemy is very easy, okay? I get that the alchemy bros and the alchemy wannabes and certifiers and all this other shit, they want you to think it's hard, but it's really not. It's hard? Alchemy is like the fucking easiest thing on the face of the earth, okay? They burn the records and they falsified and purposely, overly complexified the processes and gave them a code likening them to metals when it was never about that. So the things that you read in the alchemical texts, and I'm not talking about some like, Instagram person's blog. I'm talking about I've translated Latin for months on end to translate books that you cannot buy, that have never been printed, that are from manuscripts that have been scanned by academics and then placed either into online libraries or sold as part of collections. Okay? That's what I mean when I'm saying the alchemical texts. I'm not talking about like what you can find in Barnes and Noble right now. I'm talking about that shit's never been translated into English, and I had to translate it from Latin. And let me tell you, I've had more than my fair share of experiences where I was sitting at like 2 a.m. with a pot of tea. I'm not fucking joking. A pot of tea, Dark Side of the Spoon by Tea Punk Teas is my favorite for 2 a.m. Latin alchemical translating. If you want to get on the vibe that I was on, yeah, you want to brew that. It's got a little coffee in it. It's got a little chocolate too. I think that's the one with chocolate and coffee and tea. Oh my God, it's insane. They're sold out right now as of this recording. The last time we looked, like a couple weeks ago, they were sold out. I was like, oh no, but we've got to get some. It's so good. But you brew that, and then you just want to put like maybe 1.5 teaspoons to 2 teaspoons of sugar in each cup of your Dark Side of the Spoon tea. Oh, especially if you've got, like, I had these really bougie teacups. It's just vibes, you guys. You got to try it, okay? It's luxury witch vibes. You got to try it. It's so fun. If you've never translated Latin for alchemical texts at 2 a.m. while drinking a fabulous tea in a very bougie golden featuring, it was like my favorite teacup was like golden bone china and black. It was so extra. I've got it in storage. It's so extra. I love it. I got it on eBay for like $12. By the way, fabulous, vintage, antique, very, very regal looking teacup and saucer sets are available on eBay for like $12. Okay. Do not hold yourself off from the luxury witch vibes just because you're like, who could afford China in this economy? You, my good witch. That's whom. Okay. I also have a fabulous dragon teacup. It has a dragon on the bottom, like the little feet are dragon feet. It has a dragon on it. Ah, it's so fabulous. Anyways, I love my teacups. My teacup and saucer sets. You have to have the saucer too. You gotta have the vibes, right? But yeah, if you've never done that, highly recommend. Yeah, all the stuff in those alchemical texts, it's like the vast difference in what's written about what is in there and what is actually in there. Like, it's not even the same stuff. It's really weird. I think what happened was roundabouts the time of the Library of Alexandria getting burned, which was a security precaution. That wasn't actually set on fire accidentally or maliciously. Hella stuff was removed, and then everything else was just like notes and copies and extraneous shit that no one needed to know on this planet, so it got set on fire. So I've been told on the astral plane anyways. I ask about random historical events and things for the codes because you can just ask questions like, yo, what happened with this? What's going on with this? Whose fault is this? So anyways, yeah, so I realized that, alchemy was the basis of like all kinds of different stuff. Also, the way that I did all of my relationship coaching, I worked with a ton of people. I've worked with a ton of people as a professional witch that I've decided I'm never going to stop being a professional witch. I will always be a professional witch. It's who I am as a being. And I just feel happiest when that's my job title. And then however that wants to be authentically self-expressed in that moment in time is fine. Because who the fuck can actually say what is and what isn't being a professional witch or witchcraft? No one. You can't tell me my art isn't witchcraft. I drew the first 5 battle magic grids this weekend, and I did them for the collective. It's collectively binding and banishing all magic that's been used to harm people. unbinding people, keeping them from their timelines, what they're supposed to be doing, their wealth, their loves, their realities, their whatever it is. I did the spell reversal grid, reversing all spells that have been used on people without their consent for malicious purposes. I did the cut and clear, cutting and clearing away all remaining magical energies and physical reality effects that have been caused by this magic that has been done to people without their consent and their knowledge. And then I did a cleansing grid as well. And those are the 5 basic battle magic spells to remove battle magic that's been used on someone, against their will, against their consent, without their knowledge, etc., that is negatively impacting their lives and their realities across time and space. And so I drew those grids and then wrote a spell on the back that is for everything. It's for everyone, everywhere, across all time and space, all planets, every fucking where. Boom. So, I'm feeling fabulous. I finished the cleansing one last night. So that was on the equinox was when I finished the cleansing one. So 9/22/25. So if you're feeling better, let me know, because I think my grids are magic, y'all. I told everybody I could see magic for years. I told everybody that there were lines that connected absolutely everything, that they formed a complex grid pattern, that trees had lines connecting them to bumblebees and people and concrete, sidewalks and grass, and people had lines connecting them to each other, and there were lines connecting us to points in space, and there are all of these lines that exist everywhere. Right? And I could tell people that I've told so many clients, no, I can see, they'd be like, how did you even know that it was my aunt? I never mentioned my aunt. How'd you pick that up? And I was like, I saw an older woman who I could tell was not your mother, but seemed like your mother, who had a very significant line or cord, right? An etheric cord or a line, some sort of connecting point. And I could just tell, who that was, and that was, because I can see the lines of magic. So that's a grid, right? That's an energetic grid that's formed from an individual, whether that individual is a human being or a bumblebee or a tree or a blade of grass. That individual forms lines through the entanglements, this is full-on quantum entanglement concepts here, right? All of these streams of consciousness and beings and things that are growing or things that exist, they have an energetic connection. So the sidewalk has an energetic connection to the people that poured the sidewalk. It also has an energetic connection to the people who paid for the sidewalk. It has an energetic connection to the girl 2 Tuesdays ago that was bawling, sitting on a bench on the sidewalk, and then left and will never come back to that city. There's actually a grid line that forms with immense locations that have immense energy expended in them, like theaters. There's a reason that theaters or hospitals are often said to be haunted. It's usually not actually a haunting or an actual crossover of a being, a spirit, a consciousness. It's generally a residual energetic burst that's replaying on some sort of a time loop, which then kind of takes us into time rift theory and the fact that a lot of those locations also tend to enter into micro time rift location architecture makeups. They don't necessarily start out that way, but you think about how many times people die in a hospital or how many times people are born in a hospital. Ooh, when you actually think about somebody dying or being born, that would be exiting or entering the fabric of the time-space matrix that we're currently in. So that would potentially cause a rift in that time-space matrix if you didn't have people continuously that were able to, repair time rifts working in those locations. Yeah, so hospitals in Sirius have time rift managers. Right? A theater, right? Theaters produce shows that are set in all sorts of time periods. They are purely a liminal space. They only exist to become something else. right? So that could also introduce a different type of that time rift theory into that physical geographical location. And then what happens is like, I saw myself on stage. I like full on saw a time rift when I was like 20 or 20. I was 20, I think. Yes, I was 20. And I had just finished my first big show in college. And we put so much energy into that show. It was a really fabulous show. We had a really good time, but also it was a stressful as fuck show. The entire cast and crew got swine flu because it's when swine flu was going around. And I think first or second dress was like the first time the entire cast was on stage together, like for the entire thing, because people started getting swine flu like right after the production started. So I think it was like literally like, we had like the first read-throughs together, and then we were just working like the scenes. And so then somebody who wasn't like actively in those scenes, that it was like they had like a kind of a smaller part. They got swine flu first, but then everybody else started getting swine flu. And we all had I had swine flu. I thought I was legitimately going to die. I thought I was going to expire and go right back to the spaceship, and Raja was going to meet me right there on my bathroom floor. I thought it was going to happen, and it didn't. I'm still here. Or maybe it did happen, and that's why everything's so fucking weird. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, like I had this really strange experience. We had finally finished like full, like everything was broken down. Strike was over. And I was walking out of the theater for the last time, before like Christmas break. And I turned around and I looked back and I saw a mirage of the entire set. I saw myself. I saw my co-stars we were in full costume. It was like, literally, it was like one of the performances bled through. And I was standing there and tears just started streaming down my face. I was like, what the fuck? I mean, I was already used to like very weird experiences because I've been, seeing stuff and talking to things my whole life. And Raja used to warg into a frog and we'd have full conversations. And then the neighbor children didn't want to play with me because they thought I was weird because I wanted to introduce them to my friend the frog. And I still think they're rude. That frog was far better conversationalist than them at 3. Anyways. But yeah, I saw like a full time rift situation of myself. And I was like, bro, it lasted for like 30 to 60 seconds too. And I just stood there watching it. I was like, I could not look away. I could not walk out. I was like, I have to see this whole thing. And then it slowly just kind of faded away. And I was like, what the fuck? And I think it was right after that, funnily enough, I got my first deck of tarot cards. And I had been very afraid of magic and all of this. I was terrified of all of the things that I'm an expert in. Probably because I came into this world an expert in what I do, and I already knew what the fuck was out there, and I was like, I don't want to see no demons at 20. I'll wait till I'm 25. That's fine. I was like, I knew what was coming. I was like, I don't need no part of this right now. I'll just go to church. It's fine. I'll just pretend it don't exist. It's no big deal. I didn't go to church that much though when I was not in my 20s. I went to Bible study a little as a treat because like there were Bible studies and there were bar trips at the college that I went to, and I found both equally boring. So I spent a lot of nights at home alone in my apartment reading, being fabulous, and practicing, and talking to beings that no one else could see. Sounds like a party to me. So anyways, when you're in the process of healing or manifesting, alchemy is the answer. And, but you have to do it right. I'm going to be honest. Most of the people who are out there teaching it right now, I haven't seen anybody teaching it right. I'm just going to be real. Which is unfortunate because I didn't really want to teach it. And I think that that's the things that I'm the best at is like, I don't really want to do this. I want to do something else. But I'm really good at it because I'm just very practical about it. I don't fuss it up. That means that I'm going to be very practical. And the truth is, I do want to do it. But like, I've even said like, it wasn't my goal in life was not to start an Etsy store that would go out to become, harvest rose witchery. That wasn't my goal a decade ago. And I was told to do something and that it would work out and that it was needed. And that's how I find that I am happiest and live my life the most aligned, which is very anti everything else everybody else is saying right now. But I'm an Aquarius and I'm a manifester. I've got to go my own way. Gotta go your own way. You know? And you know what it really comes down to? Is that I want to live in a world where I guess the things that I just want to live in a world where the things that I teach that are so revolutionary are so mundane and anchored into reality that they don't even need to be taught anymore. Maybe they'll always need to be taught to be anchored into reality on that level. I want people to be constantly running that alchemical code so that they're never getting stuck, so that they're never experiencing disturbances, so that they're constantly living in alignment in an authentically self-expressed way, so that they're constantly manifesting exactly the things that they want, so that they're living the timelines that they want, so that they are creating and curating the reality that they want to live in. Right? I personally have found that I encounter a lot of resistance to doing things that I'm really good at, that I feel shouldn't have to be a part of reality. Right? Like, I don't like the fact that so many people were being, manipulated and harmed by magic. So I have spent a decade trying to figure out what to do about that and how to collectively stop that issue from happening, because I have no interest in profiting off of people's harm. I have an interest in profiting off of people thriving and them thriving more. And then we all profit and rise together. That's what I have a vested interest in. I do not have a vested interest in keeping any matrix alive because I don't profit from it. And in order to make that my reality, I had to stop profiting from any matrices. And when I located people who were profiting from those matrices, I had to remove them from my life in some way or another. Whether that was fully or just distancing myself from them until they recognized that they didn't need to keep profiting from that matrix either, and there was a better way. And I found that when I tried to just fight people and tell them that, and like, you should do this, or it's like this, or whatever, they don't fucking listen to me. The only answer that I have is to just go out and be more successful and live in a happier, more aligned, more resonant way. And then they go, wait, maybe she's onto something. That's the only answer, right? There's a very interesting factor to, I think it's my 4-6 lines with the regal authority figure in human design with the 4-6. And I think that people are very resistant to listening to anybody that they perceive is an authority, but they will watch them all the fucking time. And if they see something that resonates with them, that is when you can really start to shift the tide, is just by showing up and living in a way that the people who are watching you, who might fight, words that you say or ways that you might say that, right? If you just start showing people that there's a different way and they can experience that too, that's enough, So when you're healing or manifesting, you want to be very practical about it, and you want to be very real and very authentic, right? if you want to manifest money, how much and why? Because it's going to respond to those details. And there's this really weird narrative going on right now in like the manifestation circles about like, oh, but if you say you want to manifest $2,000, you're limiting yourself. No, if I say I want to manifest $2,000 for the rent by Friday, and then I want to manifest an additional $2,000 for shopping by Sunday, and then I want to manifest an additional $4,000 for XYZ, insert things here, right? By the next Friday, I'm setting intentions and stating where that is going to flow to next once I receive it, because money likes to flow. Energy likes to flow, right? So if you are just over here like, I just want money because I'm a good person and I deserve to have money. That's the money's like, ew, I don't want to come to your fucking party, right? What? It's like inviting a friend to do something, right? And so most people are manifesting like they're saying to a friend, hey, you want to hang out sometime? And then that friend's like, oh my gosh, yes, I'd love to. When would you like to hang out? What do you want to do? And then they just never say anything again except for, oh, so do you want to hang out sometime soon? And then they just repeat, oh, so do you want to hang out sometime soon? Like an NPC over and over and over again. So that's how most people manifest. And that's why it doesn't work for them. If you manifest like you're calling up a friend and saying, hey, would you be free to go to an art gallery opening with me on Tuesday evening, September 26th at 8 p.m.? I'll pick you up. It's like black tie, so be extra, right? All that friend has to say is, yeah, I'm there. Or, yeah, I'm there. Should we go shopping first? Or, actually, I can't make it. Right? And that's it. And that's actually how manifestation works. So nobody wants to hear that your manifestations don't sometimes work, but they don't sometimes work because that's not the manifestation for you, okay? When your manifestations don't come true, when they don't happen, it's because you were never supposed to have that. When you don't get that client, it's because that client they don't have a contract with you. You were never supposed to work with that client. When that guy doesn't ask you out on a date, it's because you don't want to date him. You don't want to date him. When that girl turns you down for a date, she's not your woman, right? When that baddie is like, this isn't a vibe and never speaks to you again, it's because they're not your people. When you don't make that money, it's because it was going to come from a person. Money does not just exist and go where it wants to. That's a fucking lie. Money is stewarded and spent and received by individuals with debit and credit cards or Bitcoin or crypto or I don't know, NFTs or whatever the fuck the kids are trading these days. You can check out on my website. That's how I accept money. Okay. And that's it. I don't want to fuck with all that. I don't have the energy for that right now. Thank you. I haven't had the energy for all that for a decade, though. It's worked out fine for me so far. Like I refuse to use Stripe because I've had bad experiences with them in the past and I just don't like them. And not accepting Stripe has not negatively impacted my business in the least. I'm going to be honest. There have been people who would be like, oh, can I pay you via, Western Union order? And I'm like, no, that's sketchy as fuck. Check out on my website or don't. And then they don't. And I'm like, dodged a bullet. That happened a lot, especially when I was first starting out in like 2017, 2018. I was really starting to take off and I was getting a lot of attention and people, literally most days it was 25 to 50 people were in my DMs every single day asking to book with me. Different people every single fucking day, 25 to 50 people in my DMs and about half of them would. It was really wild. I was booked out a month plus in advance. I was doing 15 to 20 readings a week. And calls. Most of them were spell work consultations. And it was wild. It was really cool. But there were some people who just gave off vibes. Those people it's really cool too. Like, I've had my payment processors, and my website coded to reject money from people who we don't have a contract. They're trying to come in and do some shit. XYZ, whatever. And Witchery U, I've got it coded the exact same way. People cannot join Witchery U if they're trying to come in and mine my brand language, if they're trying to come in and pretend to be, mine and my students' besties so they can later stab us in the back, if they are just weird, not aligned people, if we don't have a contract, they can't come in, right? And I'm very, very particular about those energetic boundaries for myself. And when unaligned people have come in, it's always been to show us something. Even people who have actually been able to pay me when it's been, who have been unaligned, they typically max out at 3 payments, sometimes 5 to 10. But those 5 to 10 are going to be like micro payments under $100. Anything over $100, those people always max out at 3 payments. And it's always because it's a contract designed to show me who someone really is. And it's never who they are in the public eye. It's very interesting how that works. So you may sometimes find that happens for you too, right? Somebody, I had a client who somebody had booked with them. And then they found out that it wasn't going to be a live Zoom call. And they were like, oh my God, I'm not into that. And so my client was just like, refund. I don't think we're actually aligned. Best wishes. And I was like, I'm so proud. I was so proud. I'm still so proud. I'm telling the story. I'm so proud. She's going to hear this and be like, I did that. That was me. That was me. It was me. And I'm like, yes, that was you. That was you, right? Because I'm so proud when people just stand up and kind of do that. And I'm also going to be honest. I've had people who have paid me and I've gotten a weird vibe. And I, at the time, didn't think I could just be like, I'm going to be real. I don't think this is aligned. So just take your money back and go somewhere where it is, right? That's such a power move. That is such a big baller move. And moving forward in my career, that's all I'll be doing. I have done that a couple of times now. I've only had to do it a couple of times, but I had somebody who was just, they were giving me off vibes. They were running some game. It was already clear. We hadn't even had the first session and I was not interested in having the first session. I was like, I don't want to coach you in business. I don't want you to talk to people in business. If this is how you're going to treat the person you're paying to help you get better in business, how are you going to teach, or how are you going to treat the people who are paying you? Absolutely not. And I just sent that person a refund and was like, this isn't going to work. Bye. And they were like, well, you could have at least asked me before you did that. And I was like, no, I'm not going to ask you if I'm telling you I'm not going to be like, hi, can I not work with you? What the fuck? Right? So authentic self-expression. So when you authentically express things like, I don't think we need to work together. Best wishes, right? I don't think you need to be in my spaces. Best wishes. When you do that, that is taking you to your highest timeline 100% of the time. Okay? That is how you are in your highest timeline, is to actually be authentic. And that will piss people off. That will have people like, well, she hasn't done enough shadow work. No, honey, you haven't done enough shadow work because you can't tell the difference from someone who needs to do more shadow work and someone who you're actively listening to do it, right? When y'all are hearing me have a rant, I'm actively doing the shadow work in public, live, just experiencing it. I mean, that's a very vulnerable state to be in. I'm going to be honest, right? And I do that because I genuinely believe that people need somebody to do that for them right now. I think people need to see how normal this stuff is. And I think people need to see how this stuff really works. Shadow work and trauma healing is not confined to a ritual or a ceremony or a bullshit Zoom call once a week or just in your mastermind or, whenever you've got a moment in your busy schedule. It's how I live. I live it every moment. You know what I mean? That's the whole concept of luxury witch lifestyle. This is not something that I do when the cameras are on. This is not something that happens when I'm only posting on Instagram. This is not something I do for, a living to make money or get external validation. This is actually just my lifestyle. I just monetized the lifestyle I wanted to live and went out and lived it harder and then monetized it more. That's my entire secret to business. There you go. I've given it to you. You can go out and do the same thing. Monetize the lifestyle that you want to live. Make the lifestyle that you want to live part of your brand. Happy fall. It's lifestyle camera action, y'all. It is fall now. Oh my gosh. We were gonna do Stack this summer in Monetize Your Magic. And then everybody had a winter. And I was like, guys, if we're all having a winter, we need to be elevating everything, not doing Stacked. So if we're all having a winter, we're going to winter together. And we did. We wintered together. And now we're going to have fall. So we had spring together in Monetize Your Magic. We were all spring and we were tuning to the brands. Everything was about on brand. We were focusing on the brands, right? And then we focused on the brands so hard. We went, oh shit, we've all been kind of lowballing ourselves in the brands that we really have within. We think we need a winter to elevate everything. So we did it because we're not confined to time. We don't have to wait for winter to winter. Are you kidding me? So we had a winter this summer while the moon was being void, of course, half the time. And then we had the craziest eclipse season to, finish it off. And that was after all of the portals and all of the wild shit. And all of the ick trying to just their hardest to do something, I guess. Now that's over. Happy fall, y'all. Lifestyle camera action is here. And it's all about living the lifestyle that you want to exemplify in your brand 24/7. 24/7. Because you know what I realized? Those fake separations between business, work, and life, and reality, and even your relationships, those are false walls. They're an illusion, right? And what I started to realize was I didn't like having all these little bits of me broken up. I didn't like having to have the professional bits of me and then the real bits of me, right? I just wanted to be me. I didn't want to have to talk to clients that I couldn't be over here like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? I didn't want to record podcast episodes that I couldn't hit the bong in the middle of recording. I don't want to live an overproduced fake lifestyle. I never have, and I never will. That's not me. That's not luxury witch vibes. That's not the concept of luxury witch lifestyle. The concept is that I live exactly the lifestyle that feels the most luxurious and the most magical to me 24/7. I live magic as a lifestyle, and then I monetize that magic as a lifestyle and as a business and as a brand, and that creates my entire reality. That is the fuel and the source coding of how I've done everything that I've done. That's it. And then I've got a lot of little nuanced processes and systems and ways to feed your brain into that reality on an easier level, because this shit we've gone through on this planet, just being here as multidimensional baddies, is insane. But the more practical that you can be about what you're manifesting when you're manifesting it, or what you're healing when you're healing it, right? The more you can laser focus in. $2,000 to pay the rent, a 4-page list of all of the qualities that you want in that person that you're manifesting. I did that with Michael. I have, it's still somewhere. I have a 4-page list. It was college ruled, and it was a big notebook too. Okay. It was a long list, and it was all the things, and they were delusional. This list never should have come true in partial reality, much less in full reality. But it did. And it's because I observed, again, we come back to the observer effect. I observed what I wanted to experience, how I wanted to be treated, the qualities I wanted him to have. There was nothing on there about superficial things, how much money he made, what he looked like, where he lived. There was nothing like that. There was how I wanted to be treated. There was the fact that I didn't want him to be a gross man that made everything sexual and weird and strange, right? There was the fact, and to be honest, when we first got together, he did a little. And I was like, if that's really you, that's not really you. And he was like, oh, that's not really me. And we found out that, that was part of the alchemical process, right? It was like he had all of these kind of like, he did have, oh my God, you guys, he had some human man traits. Just the normal shit that they think's normal. And I was like, that shit ain't normal. And he was like, oh my God, you're right. That's not normal. I'll never do that again. And you know what? That bitch alchemized all that shit. And that's how you do the hydroscamos, by the way. You have to go in and re-alchemize all that crap you think is normal from earth-based romantic relationships. Ooh, that's a fun one. But he did it. And so my manifestation list came true in its entirety. The clients that I wanted to manifest, the people that I wanted to work with, I've done this over and over and over again. I joke that I love a good ideal client avatar, and I do, but not the way that most people do ideal client avatars. I do ideal client avatars just like I did ideal man avatar. I write down the qualities of what that person is experiencing, what that person wants to experience, what that person's like, what that person, what they're going to want to work with me on, what level they're going to want to work with me on. And I've done this for every level of person. This is not just like, oh, this is something we do for high ticket clients. I did this. This is my version of an ideal client avatar, but I've done this for every offer I've ever done that was a legacy offer, that was a signature offer, that was something that was in the brand for, a year plus, is just writing down this kind of master list of qualities of the people that I want to work with. I love working with very smart people. Most of my clients and students are people with degrees. They're people who have had typically more real world based corporate and muggle careers. I work with a lot of people who are engineers, have, been in tech, have, business degrees, finance people, mental health professionals, people who have who have had more established careers in these more, traditional spaces, right? That tends to be the people that I kind of work with the most, because that's who I am. Right? People who have had these careers, yet underneath was always a multidimensional baddie, right? Was always, and that's why they had these careers, because we went into the hospitals and the engineering fields and the tech fields and the finance fields and the business fields and, the healthcare fields and the scientific fields and all of these different more kind of left brain vibes, right? Most of my clients also simultaneously, while doing these more left brain vibe careers, have had very artistic hobbies or side gigs, from, dance to art to music to whatever. I mean, you have to remember, Michael is a musician. Now he's a sound engineer, and his career for a decade was in sound engineering. And he thinks like an engineer. I've dated other engineers that were not sound engineers, that were other types of engineers. And he thinks just like an engineer. It's really funny. And it's very linear for me sometimes. And I'm like, huh? And I'm like, okay, so let's take all of that and then let's tune into some vibes, man. It's I dipped my toe in that world, but I didn't go too far in, so that I could do what I'm doing now. And these people always, we were always supposed to go into these things. And my clients were always supposed to go into these things so that they could have that very linear, very structured, often rigid, oppressed, suppressive environment, so that they could get the codes and then go do something different with those codes while filtering them through their multidimensional and cosmic perspectives and realities. So the more specific that you can get, whether it's for healing something, if you've got something that you're like, this has been bothering me for a long time, or this is something that's come up a lot, this is a cycle that's repeating, right? The more specific you can get about what it is, the root cause of it, and how it is affecting you, the more specific you can get about healing that. And I have no problem with the word healing. If you have surgery, you're going to need to heal after. And you can slap any type of new age word you want on that. But when you're in a hospital with stitches, with your legs sewn up because you just had an orthopedic surgery, you go ahead and tell me that the word you want to use isn't, I can't wait for my leg to heal. Go ahead and tell me that's not going to be it, okay? The delusions of the spiritual matrix need to die. Real bad, okay? And we just need to call things what they are. That's the flowery language has got to fucking end. You know what I mean? Like, when it's about very practical things. And then the flowery language needs to expand when we're getting poetic and artistic and fabulous, because I love it all, right? But when we over complicate things, this is where my 8 earth placements really are helpful in an incarnational experience. When we overcomplicate things, people can't understand what you're saying. And that's a real issue that's running around right now with a lot of the people in the spiritual industry, is in their marketing. They have been programming people to market in ways that don't work. So I think it's either on the podcast somewhere. I've talked about it a few times. There's an episode on the podcast about how I got the crystals that were sitting in my house to actually sell. I think I talk about it in there. And then I think I talk about it in Monetize Your Magic somewhere, but I'm going to be honest, I don't know where. So I'm going to tell you now. But I know I've talked about this other places. But when I was first getting my group spells up and really going, group spells turned into a revenue stream that the last year that I did them made me almost double what I made my last year in the corporate world. And it was my lowest income stream for Harvest Rose Witchery that year. So that was pretty cool. And I did that in a variety of ways. But one of the things that I found that, because I doubled the revenue stream in a year. So in 2020, we'd had like a fabulous year with that. I made almost what I used to, well, I definitely made what I used to make in working in the psych ward with my group spells in 2020. And I was like, okay, time to get serious about this, because it was an offer system that I had been testing for 2 years at this point. And I decided to get really serious with it. And I was like, I'm going to go balls to the wall with this, and we're just going to see what can happen. So I doubled the revenue stream in a year, and then I stopped doing them. Because they were time-based. I did them every Thursday. And in 2022 was when I started to remove myself from the time matrix. So I had to shift how I was doing things. And, it was a glorious year. It was gorgeous. We did so much fucking magic. It was amazing. We did some fabulous spells. But what I tuned into, it was so great. My assistant made me a spreadsheet. And your bitch loves a spreadsheet, okay? She made me a spreadsheet. And it had all of the data from 2020 on it. And I sat for like 3 days and I looked at all the data from 2020. I looked at the names of the spells, how much they were, how much they sold. She had gone through all of the records. I've always kept immense records on the back end of the way that the business runs and how things have run and how we do things and stuff like that, so that we can grow. That's how you scale. You have to have data to scale. If you have no data, you cannot scale. So if you're out here running your business and your brand like you're trying to scale and you don't have any data to review, that tells you need to go obtain data first, and then we can review it, and then you can scale. You cannot scale without data. You have to have data to scale. That's there. I've tried it both ways. You have to have data to scale. But when you have data, we can take that data, and then you never are in the position of not having data again, unless you start like something brand new, and then we have to collect the data. And then all you have to do is collect the data, and then we can scale it. It's fucking magic, y'all. It's so cool. So I'm telling you, those battle magic grids did something, because I did a battle magic thing set up on, I think it was Thursday night for the collective, just stopping anything that was attempting to come through right then magically and harm anybody. And then I did a liminal space clearing for the planet. I think it was Friday night. It was Friday or Saturday night. I did that. And I haven't done anything since, except I drew the first 5 battle magic grids. And I'm like, we're on a new planet. Hello. Moving right along. So I forgot what I was saying again. Oh no. I'm going to be honest. I've got to take a potty break. So we're going to pick this up in part 2. Alrighty. So just to finish this bad boy off, after a little pause, pausey pause, Michael's gotten up, and then we had a chatty chat, and now he and Mira are going to get some coffee and some pizza ingredients. So very excited about that. So anyways, finishing this up. Where else might we find that authentic self-expression really takes us to, the places that we really want to be, right? And a few examples of that, and I encourage you to think about this for yourself and see what you can explore and, tune into. But, one place that I would say is probably the most easy to understand is a relationship or your sex life, right? Both of those, kind of tend to go hand in hand. And not just tuning in, though, to your relationships that are romantic or sexual or whatever, right? Authentic self-expression is so important in those relationships and in those interactions. And I think that's, a very easy thing for a lot of people to understand. If you're not able to be yourself in a relationship, you're probably not going to have as good of a relationship as when you can be yourself, right? And when you don't feel like you can authentically express yourself in a romantic or sexual relationship, it's never going to be as aligned and as resonant as one that you do, right? Like I feel completely able to be myself 1000% of the time with Michael. That's why this works so well. There's never a moment in time where I feel like I have to be anything other than myself. And that was definitely part of, what I wanted in a partner, and I've got to get a drink in somebody that I was with. 'Cause why fucking bother otherwise? I don't need to be with somebody I want to, right? Another place to explore this for your relationships, though, the ancient Greeks had 8 different words for love, right? And so tuning into all the different types of relationships that you have. And this is something that I have covered in my relationship alchemy work for years. And relationship alchemy and all of my alchemy work is actually in Luxury Witch Lifestyle as well. And when she's ready, Luxury Witch is a manifester, just like me. So is Coven of One. So they both have massive spurts of create, and then they want to have a little rest. And so Coven of One right now, we just released, I think it was 18 multidimensional reconnection frequencies in Coven of One. We have 40 cosmic spa frequencies coming. We have everything from the fairy spa to the witch spa to the Arcturian spa to the Alpha Centaurian spa to the Phoenix spa to the Hydran spa to the Andromedan spa. We've got them all. All right. Every spa I could think of. There's 40. I went on a little astral adventure to Cosmic Spa Land, aka Antares, aka also parts of Alpha Centauri, aka also parts of Sirius, and a few parts of Arcturus. And just started compiling notes, you know what I mean? And just decided let's have a frequency to all these spas, that you can astrally visit and have journeys to. And then we're going to astrally visit them and have journeys to these places too. That's coming later. We're going to go on an astral adventure to the... Oh, wait, do we have the Centaur Spa? Do we have a Centaur Spa? I mean, I'm not talking the Centaurian Triad or Alpha, Beta, or Theta Centauri. I'm talking, do we have like a centaur, as in the mythological Baddie? Do we have a centaur frequency? Oh, I'm going to have to ask Michael if we don't have a centaur frequency. I've got to get one. We can't leave the centaurs out. Oh, my gosh. Anyways, so we're clearly adding to that. We've got those frequencies coming, and then once the frequencies are done, I think I'm going to start doing some astral travels to those, or I don't know how that's going to work yet because she hasn't told me. But then also because we still have all of the beginner's witchcraft guided pathworking meditations. I think we've got 2 or 3 in beginner's witchcraft right now, but Michael's been, I recorded these back in 2017 when I first did beginner's witchcraft. But they've been getting the ascended frequencies treatment. So we've been releasing those. And then we also have Sweet and Sour, which is my guide to sugar and vinegar jars. That's going to be coming in Coven of One this fall. And I'm going to record a little classy class on just showing you guys how, like, literally, like, here's me making a vinegar jar and here's me making a sugar jar. And then all of the written materials, I wrote those in 2018, January of 2018. And we have all of those. So that class is coming. And then also my Winter Magic experience is coming. My class, Winter Magic. That was a fabulous course that I wrote in 2017 in December of 2017. And it's got some beautiful written materials and some really, really, really magical pathworking meditations as well. And we go to a ball with the Fairy Queen. We go to the Cave of Hecate. We go, I think the Moon Temple meditation might have originally been from, I can't remember if the Moon Temple meditation, no, it was Grandmother Moon. I think it was Grandmother Moon. Was Winter Magic? I can't remember, but we've got like 20 different pathworking meditations from the OG days going in different places, and my original courses as well. So all that's coming in Coven of One too. So I'm very excited about that. And then those are also included with Luxury Witch Lifestyle. And then Luxury Witch, she's just been vibing for a little bit because Luxury Witch has so much. We have the entire Luxury Witch library, which has both of my manifestation programs, all the spell work master classes. So I think there's 8 or 9 spell master classes in there, which is mostly my energetic maintenance spells. And there's a couple of manifestation spells. Can't remember what else is in there right now. And then we've got, like, what else is in the Luxury Witch library? I can't remember right now, to be honest, but the page on the website will tell you, I think, more information. But then, so we've got like all my major programs that were in the Luxury Witch library from the witchcraft days, like the spellmaster classes, manifestation mindset, manifestation rebooted, beginner's witchcraft, and then, Winter Magic and Sweet and Sour will be in there too. But then we also have the Luxury Witch library, which has over 100 different articles, excavations, full, like, written program, different pieces, about everything from chakras to alchemy to manifestation to money mindset to, creating a magical morning routine to the, utilizing, interesting, to utilizing, your nighttime routine as a portal between, like, liminal spaces, to all of my relationship alchemy work is in there. All my alchemy writings and teachings are in there. There's so much stuff. And then we've got like excavations that guide you. An excavation is a series of questions. It's usually about 20 different questions that takes you on a journey to excavate through your sub and unconscious minds. Basically where you're having resistance, where you're not tuning into things because you just kind of never thought about them. Like we really go into it's honestly, it's shadow work. I mean, I'm going to be real. We're going into the shadows. My main character energy excavation. That's one of my favorites I've ever done. And I actually take you through all of the main characters that you've ever identified with, the main characters you haven't identified with, the main characters you fucking hated, the main characters of a different gender expression than you are that you liked and disliked. And then we examine what all of that tells you about you. It's a really cool excavation. I designed the excavations for myself, actually. I was writing content for myself to do because I needed some hyper-specific things. So I was channeling these questions, probably from Raja, to be honest. And I was channeling these questions, and then I answered the questions, and then I found fabulous things out about myself. So anyways, so many fabulous things are in Luxury Witch. She was just like, I'm good for right now. I don't want to do anything else. And what she's kind of been letting me know is that it's when she does want to start doing stuff again, it's going to be very much focused on my alchemical work and my chakra related work. And teaching all of the things that I've learned about that and exactly stuff like that. But I have no clue when that's going to happen. I'm going to be honest. Luxury Witch she lives her Luxury Witch lifestyle and inspires all of us to live our Luxury Witch lifestyles with the content held therein. And then when she's ready to express new Luxury Witch vibes, that's what we do. And when she's not, we're like at the spa. Okay, I just work here. And then monetize your magic is just always kind of monetizing that. Like, it's a really not a stopwatch. Shit don't ever stop. You know what I mean? Like, it's the magic is always being monetized. There are always magical monetization vibes flowing. And I pretty much create content for Monetize Your Magic like almost every week. Just kind of something comes out. There's just something that comes out there. And then I've been really wanting to, I haven't created anything for, I haven't done any new energetic repatternings in a few weeks. I haven't done any soul codes recordings in a few weeks either. But we are still finishing out the build of that wing of Witchery U with Cosmic Witchery right now. So as a manifester, I just kind of like, I've created enough for the moment. I'll be back. I'll return. The diva shall return in a moment. And when I let myself do that, and that's been kind of a thing, is like I've been very much, as a manifestor in human design, and I lived as a generator for my entire life until 2020. And so I've been doing hella deprogramming on that sacral, consistent energy and stuff, and removing myself from the time matrices and the schedules and the expectations and the perspectives, mostly that I had of myself. As I've been doing that, it's quite uncomfortable because people have this like opinion of like, pretty much all my life, people had this opinion like, oh, well, I hope you feel better soon. Like, I don't need to feel better soon. I'm just tired. I just need to vibe for a few days. Like, I just, you know what I mean? Like, I'm going to be honest, like Luxury Witch Lifestyle sitting there, the current content that you get instant access to when you join Luxury Witch Lifestyle is worth over $8,000. It's $444 a month. Like, people could be in Luxury Witch Lifestyle for a couple of years and get their money's worth, okay? And I typically tend to take breaks with Luxury, which I've noticed that are like 3-ish months or so. I'll take a little break. But we've got this like other vault content that's kind of going in right now. So it's like, I can, like that's also a very manifestor thing to do, is like bank a bunch of content and then do something with it. There's also a lot of content that like we haven't even thought about really doing anything with. There's so much stuff. There's so much stuff sitting in my Google Drive right now that has not even been touched. There's so much stuff sitting in my Remarkable that has not been touched. Like, I always have a surplus of things. And then not even getting into the fact that like we want to bring some of the some of my portal paintings, some of the grids, some of the multidimensional watercolors. We want to do some more stuff like that for a few of the spaces in Which Are You. So, fun stuff. But that's been an interesting journey of authentic self-expression, because people expect you to constantly be going and doing and all of this other stuff. And it's like, and I've noticed that it's still taking me a lot to figure out how do I communicate something that is so against the norm, right? To people and have them not just instantly kind of resist it, right? Because no, I'm not in Which Are You, like coaching you. It is a self-guided adventure through various aspects of my work or all of my work. You can access all of Which Are You with the Multidimensional Baddie Academy. And that is a free-for-all through all of my work in all of the areas that I have like ever taught in. And then an ongoing experience through my entire body of work, because my body of work is huge, right? And it just keeps growing, and I love adding to it. And it's designed to be used as a library it is designed to answer all of your questions. You're not supposed to have questions. You're not supposed to need to ask me questions. You're not supposed to need my guidance, because I create all of my content to guide in the content. And that's been a pretty cool, consistent thing throughout my career, is because I'm, an oracle. I can see the future. And so I can see that someone's going to ask me this question. So I just put a module into the program answering that question. And then boom, my clients don't have questions. They're like, well, I did have a question. And then I listened to the next module and you answered that, and I was doing that even back when I was like live teaching programs, like the people who were live in Manifestation Mindset back with me at like 2020. I remember like I think I did three or four live streams for that one. I think I did 3 live streams in a week. I did 3 live streams in a week. And then the rest was pre-recorded. And that was when I was like, I got to start pre-recording everything, because I cannot show up live. I hate having to conform to a schedule. I can't do it. I forced myself to for many years, and it was completely against my authentic self-expression. So we're not going to be doing that anymore. But like, I just can't do it. And I've just found so much more relaxed success for the clients I've been working with over the past couple of years, and the way that we've been doing things completely asynchronous time. They don't have to show up to an appointment time. I don't have to show up to an appointment time. It's very vibey. It's very easy. It's either pre-recorded content similar to what you're listening to now, on a YouTube video, or like my private clients, in a private Telegram message, or it is a piece of pre-recorded content that I've already gone over absolutely everything. And I fucking hate repeating myself. So if I can send you the more I have to repeat myself, the less I say, is what I found. If I have to repeat myself 50 times, the first time that I said something has the most, best, freshest, and like highest level information in it. The 50th time that I say something, I'm like, do I really have to say this again? And many people, I know it does not work like that, but that's how it works for me. So when I realized that, I've realized that if I can capture, on recording, the first time that I say something, it's going to have the most powerful, potent codes of any other time that I say it. Every time I repeat something, it's like it just loses something. And if you don't work like that, I don't expect you to. I think that's a like maybe a non-sacral / manifester thing. Like, we just fucking hate repeating ourselves. I feel like projectors are far more into repeating themselves sometimes than I just feel like manifestors just hate repeating themselves. Like, it's like, no, I will not be saying this again. And so when I realized that was, in alignment for me and authentic to me, and I just tune into that more, I can do so much more. Right? That's why I can create the amount of content that I can now, because I'm not having to repeat myself 24/7 anymore. So when I can do that, that's what I do, because you're getting the best version of me when you listen to that pre-recorded content. You're getting the best, most tuned in version of me to that frequency range when I say it the first time. So that's why I tapped into this strategy of creating content like I do. So anyways, the more that you can tune into your different, I went off on a spiel, but the more you can tune into your authentic self-expression in a variety of your relationships, in the relationship that you have with the way that you speak about your business and your brand. Look at what I just did. I just lived that and expressed that. When you can authentically express yourself and what you're doing, it has taken me years to be able, Coven of One's just going to turn a year old in November. But Luxury Witch, the words luxury witch lifestyle, I heard them. I was at a concert in the summer of 2019, and I've always had like very interdimensional experiences at concerts. So I'm very picky about the concerts that I go to. But I was at a concert. I was dating this little fairy boy at the time. It was really fun. I was looking like a little goth fairy. I was cute. It was a vibe. I had my corset on, my little lace skirt. It was like a whole like goth princess fairy little vibe situation going on. But the bar I went to, they had no Shiner Bock. And I could still drink beer back then. And I loved me a beer in the summer. It's like a vibe. And I was like, what the hell? They don't have any Shiner? I remember I texted my dad and I was like, they don't have any Shiner at this bar I'm at in Texas. And I think he said something like, riot! Have a riot! Riot right now! Like it was probably something similar, you know what I mean? Like, throw a fit, like, I know, I literally think he texted me back, and I think it was like riot, like in three exclamation points at the end. Like, I was like, wow, okay, I mean, I'll have a riot about it, that's fine. Riot, how dare you not have any Shiner in Texas, in Dallas? How are you not going to have Shiner? You're a bar. I was so offended, you guys. Anyways, I'm still offended, but I was standing at this fucking bar with probably a Bud Light Lime, kind of being cranky. I wasn't having like the best time because, is it the worst? Is it the venue with the worst sound in Dallas? And I'm not going to say the name of the venue. If you're from Dallas or have been around for a while, been to enough live music venues, I'm sure you've got an opinion about what that is. It's the location with the worst live sound in Dallas. They don't have a Michael, to say the least. Oh my God. It's like literally, this band was playing that was one of my favorite bands at the time. And my favorite song came on, and it was halfway over until I realized it was that song because the sound quality was so bad, you could not hear the band playing in the audience. It was wild. It was absolutely insane. I was like, we paid for this? I was straight up not vibing, okay? But I looked real cute at the beginning, and I heard the words while I was standing there waiting for this horrible sound experience. Horrible sound experiences have always really rubbed me the wrong way because I'm interdimensionally married to Michael. And my dad was a DJ and sound guy before he went into finance. So I also grew up with it. He would like go to his friends' houses and rewire their sound systems for fun when I was like 5. And I thought that was fucking iconic. I was like, wow, that's amazing. It was great. It was fabulous. Good job, Dad. Nobody was doing that in 1995. Come on. Anyways. It was great. So, I was loading a dab. I've completely lost my train of thought. Honestly, I should have probably ended this 25 minutes ago, but then I was like, said I was going to come back and finish it, and then like, I don't know, the vibes changed, and I was like, we can go finish a little vibe time. Anyways, so as you explore your different types of relationships, like with the way that you talk, I was saying that like luxury witch popped into my head. I heard the words luxury witch lifestyle in 2019. Bong hit. The dab is ready. We're talking about luxury witch lifestyle. So that's been around for 6 years in my brain, and I'm just now able to talk about it. That's what I was going to say. It's existed as an offer that I have been selling in a variety of formats since 2022. 3 years it's taken me to be able to really communicate that. Because it took me time to be able to authentically express what luxury witch lifestyle was for me. And I think that's its job. Ooh. Has Michael returned? Michael has not returned. That was somebody else honking the horn. Woo! There is a weird fucking vibe outside, y'all. Estoy acá para que ya te tai. It's a hyper-specific dialect of Ontarian, by the way. Even speaking all these different languages that I speak, that was me sending some of the interdimensional homies just to see what the fuck that weird vibe was that I picked up about 0.23 miles away from the house to the southeast. So anyways, all the interdimensional homies don't really speak English that well. Like, they've picked up some from the astral hotlines. But like, if you want to talk to an Antarian, like, have you ever tried talking an Antarian? The coffee pot clicked when I said that. What's the apotai? Anyways, so try talking in Antarian. How do you learn Antarian? I don't know. Either you know it or you don't. I mean, you learn Antarian in Antares. Have you been to Antares or not? If you've been to Antares, then just open your mouth and let it come out. Authentic self-expression. How do you speak Antarian? The interesting thing is that I have noticed that even people who think that they're not speaking the same language, when you start tuning into like some of these soul language dialects or light language dialects or cosmic language dialects or frequency language dialects or celestial dialects or interdimensional dialects or liminal dialects or coding dialects, or everything can have a dialect. You know, when you tune into that, and then you just realize you need to start speaking the right language, you know, then things can shift pretty quickly. And so that's also the whole point of, like, you know, this authentic self-expression thing. When you speak your own unique dialect of language in the way that only you can, that is your culture codes. That's the culture codes of you. So when you tune in to the culture codes of you, like, I live in a reality where magic and a huge variety of interdimensional cosmic civilizations and cultures and their habits and their aesthetics and their languages and their art and their magic is just second nature to me. I'm a cosmic and celestial and beyond traveler. What can I say? I just love to know things about people's textiles. What are your textiles like? I get on a planet and I'm like, oh, what's your textiles like? What's your magic like? Like, tell me all about my favorite things, because they're everywhere, all throughout like the macroverse, right? We have culture codes everywhere. Your witch loves culture codes. I'm like, So you use what kind of flowers for what? Ooh, tell me more. Like, what do you do tell me what you do with that hand fan. You know what I mean? I love me some culture codes and magic and witchcraft and the things that are referred to as such, just like technology, just like beverages, just like textiles, you know, and music and frequency and all of those things. It all rolls down to culture codes. And culture codes roll down to authentic self-expression. And so when you can begin to tap into your own culture codes external to the culture or civilization that you are currently in, and you can tune into, like, for example, I've pretty much had the same hairstyle. I used to joke I'd had the same hairstyle for 2,000 years. Now I'm like, well, I'm going to be real. I mean, I've had a few different, I definitely have different eras of me across time and space, and my coven of one that I can tap into. I'm in my updo era right now. Now I tapped into my updo era when I was in my early 20s, and I played Gertrude in Hamlet. And then I had a little updo era going for the next few years, right? And then I went into an exclusively, and if you're in an updo era, you're going to have a little bit shorter of hair, right? Because you want enough to arrange it, but not enough to cause you headaches when you pile that shit up on top of your head. You know what I mean? And it's not the 1700s. We're not putting a boat on our updo. You know what I mean? We don't need wig status over here with the length to tease and to stick some socks in or whatever it was we used to wear on our, those foam things we used to wear on our heads. The fuck was it? I don't know what it was. I can't remember. But I remember the culture codes I remember sitting and having my hair stretched over this foam thing. And people were like, why don't you just wear a wig? And I was like, ugh, where's the artistry in that? I just want it done to my hair. I don't know. I was wilding in the 1700s. No, the wigs were fabulously artistic, and they were great, and they were wonderful, and I loved them too. I just personally hate, I love that for other people though. I hate wearing wigs. It's that's part of my culture codes. Okay, that's part of me. And this is part of knowing thyself. Gnothoi saith ton. Know thyself. Okay? Know thyself. Know thyself, know thyself, know thyself. And it's very, very, very basic shit. I've got this culture code of it's so funny. I don't wear a bra. I'm just going to be honest, right? I hate wearing a bra. If I wear a bra, it's going to be a bralette situation. I used to be a Victoria's Secret underwires push-up, millennial girl. Okay. I was there, and I just got stabbed in the side by an underwire poking me for too long. And one day I was like, I desire freedom. So I started wearing sports bras exclusively, and I tuned into a different variety of bralettes, but I still wore them all the time. And then the Rona hit, and it was tits were out everywhere. And it just, that's just how it is. So, still occasionally love a nice, really, but it's got to be a comfortable, no seam bralette situation. I can't handle anything that's not comfy. And if it squeezes me too tight, it's just going to be a no from me, dog. I'm in a human vessel right now. I incarnated here. I was born on this planet. Okay. I think I've done enough. All right. I think I deserve to wear oversized t-shirts. I think I deserve to be comfortable. I think I deserve to not have my ankles constricted if I don't want to. And I don't. Okay. I think I've done enough. All right. I've done enough. So, have you ever laid down? Guys, have you ever laid down? Oh my gosh. Let's all lay down together. Hold on. Everybody lay down. Amelia literally stretched when I said that. So, Amelia agrees. She's like, let's all lay down. Just to have the culture codes, guys. Oh, have you ever laid down? I'm so crampy right now. Ow! If you're crampy with me right now, ow with me. Ow! Authentic self-expression. Ow! You'll feel better. Ow! Even if you're not crampy, but need an ow. Ow! Okay. Are you feeling better? Do you feel more expressed? This is my new technique. I've had chronic pain since I was 18 years old. And you know what I realized I never did? I never just said how much pain I was in. I'm in pain 24/7. It's about 92% of, I can't actually tell you a location on my vessel right now that doesn't hurt, to include the tips of my fingers, my toes, my earlobes, all of my skin. I feel like I have a low-grade sunburn sandwiched between my muscles and my skin 24/7 of varying degrees. My muscles are constantly fatigued and exhausted by this, and I have tried absolutely everything that one could find since my car wreck to shift this or heal this or whatever the fuck you want to call it. And while I've had decreases, I have not been at a zero of pain since I was 18 years old. Ow! So I thought, what if I just started just owing? You know what I mean? If I'm in pain, like, just maybe have a little ow about it, you know? And what I find is when I do that, the frequency really shifts. Like, when I just acknowledge, like, I'm in a lot of pain right now. I don't want to sit up anymore. And it's so weird for me, too. Because I feel like when I'm recording, I should always be, like, sitting up and, like, at attention, you know what I mean? Like, I'm on the job. Is that my dad's cell memory from when he was a DJ and he would literally go to work and be on air? Y'all think that's what that is? I'm laying down to record my podcast for my family line. Yeah, this is generational healing magic, and I'm doing it laying on my couch right now talking to you. That's fucking fabulous. I think that's what I'm programming the reality to believe, so that's what's going to happen. Right? Oh, you just got to stretch out. You just got to be comfy. You can lay down and be comfy and have very valid thoughts that people want to hear. You know, I could just I'm worried about the sound quality now. And then I just realized, I laid down. I could just literally bring the phone down here. Wow. Oh my gosh. Look at that. Guys, you can just lay down and record your podcast if you want to. There's nothing stopping you. There's nothing. I'm doing it right now. My legs are up in the air. Okay. I'm definitely laying upside down on the couch. So my feet are like on the couch cushions. And I'm just staring at the ceiling. I'm upside down right now. My legs are now up in the, there's no couch cushions. My legs are up in the air. We're just chilling. Very bisexual seating. You know, we're vibing. We're chilling. We're stretching. We're stretching. We're stretching. And stretch. And breathe out. And breathe in. Welcome to multidimensional movement. And stretch. This is unhinged. And I love it. Why does it feel so unhinged to lay down to record your podcast? That's what I want to know. Why does it feel unhinged to lay down and be comfortable? And also be brilliant? Why does that feel unhinged? What is that? What is this? Is this a glitch in the Matrix? It is. It me. So the more that we can just do whatever the fuck it is we want. And the truth is that most of the time when I'm recording, I'm moving a ton of energy, right? So a lot of the time, sometimes even when I'm recording, I will stand up or walk while I'm recording. But very crampy right now. Don't have energy to do that. Want to yap, you know? So why not? Why not? And I get to look at all of my paintings that are normally behind me when I do this. Suddenly started thinking about tacos. Very specifically, reheated ground beef tacos. Because Michael makes these amazing ground beef tacos, right? And then he always makes too many, which is fabulous because we just put them in a Tupperware and we heat that shit up for breakfast in the morning, and it's amazing. And when you reheat it, it starts to kind of take on the qualities of like a fast food burger in a corn tortilla. I don't know how, don't ask me. It kind of like overnight it has like congealed together. And cause like he fully preps the tacos, right? So it like congeals together and then it like very much has this like burger quality the next day when you reheat it. I don't know. It's magic. That's all I know. This is food magic. And that was just what I started thinking about. So if you ever have that happen where you just suddenly like the brain thoughts exit the building, like, get me some orange cat ears, because there's not one brain cell left in this building. It has gone to the next, node. It's gone to the next orange cat. All right, just right on along. I'm gonna get orange cat ears and an orange tail, and I'm gonna match Fred, and it's gonna be great. I've never had orange. I'm like, yes, this will signify that I have no brain thoughts. There's no thoughts here. The thoughts have left the building. We are vibes only. That sounds very relaxing for me, to be honest. That sounds like a nice off switch for my brain. You know what I mean? One time I had a client, and one of the things that we magicked her was a house that had a combo dungeon and craft room in it. And I still think that's fucking iconic. It was fabulous. She got it too. It was great. She got it. I'm excited for pizza and coffee, though. I think we're going to relax the majority of the rest of the day. I don't know what else I'm going to do. Maybe nothing, to be honest. I've got some spell work I'm about to start prepping. I have a reading with one of my favorite people coming up soon, so I'm excited to talk to him, see what's going on with him, how he can feel more creatively expressed, less stagnant, fun vibes. I decided I miss doing, fun things like I used to do, like, spells and readings and consultations and stuff. But my readings are always like, I don't do general readings, just an FYI. I'm not your general reading girl. I do spell work consultations. I'm going to be doing frequency consultations via Telegram, where you can tell me all the things that you want a custom frequency for, or to work on with frequency and or spell work. We can also do frequency and spell work consultation situation and do both. I've had clients do that in the past couple of years since we started Ascended Frequencies, and the combo of the frequencies and the spell work, like, it is magic on 10,000. So, and then I'm going to be doing my chakra readings again soon too. And those are, everything I'm doing is going to be asynchronous time on Telegram. So you're going to pick a day, and you'll basically be getting your reading on that day. That'll be all pre-recorded. You can listen to it, and then you can ask follow-up questions. And if we have any clarifiers that we need to look into, we can do that too. And then we'll make either a spell work plan, a frequency plan, a combo plan, or I have spent a year with a private client devising a brand new system of chakra magic that is very OP. It's very next level. It is for what I refer to as my cosmic royalty tier of clients only. Because of the intensity of what it is for people who are here to activate their shit and do it in it's a year-long process. It is a very close process that we work together, and we calibrate exactly which order of the chakras we go in. We do not go in a linear order. We go in the order that is best and aligned for the client. There's also like some of her chakra packages also came along. There was a co-package that was a battle magic package, because there was some hyper-specific stuff going on with some of those energetic processing centers for her, and people trying to make sure she couldn't access them. So I devised new methods of battle magic to combat hyper-specific things. And then there's also the protection portal aspect of that package as well. And I had been kind of contemplating if I was going to have it be part of the package or if it was like going to be an optional add-on. And honestly, I just really think that it's best for everyone if we have the protection portal. That's something that you can get kind of as like an add-on or as like a solo offer with me as well. I have different portals that I do, which is a continuously maintained candle and neon sign. And I code the neon signs with like off and on and different interdimensional coding. And I work with the energy of the actual neon sign to make sure that my clients have this open flow of energy. And then I have a variety of portals that I can do. So like I have a protection portal for this client. I have like financial flow portals. I have creativity portals. We can do whatever. We can always, and you know, so many of my spells and so many of my portals and my rituals and stuff have literally just come from somebody going, hey, can you do this? And I'm like, of course I can do anything with a spell or magic. Duh. Like, it's me. It feels good to be me again. This is me. If you think I sound egotistical, I am. I'm Rose fucking Dumaine. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. I'm kind of really good at magic. It's like only been my career for a decade. I only pioneered like entirely new ways of doing witchcraft and magic professionally. That's all. No big deal. No big, guys. No big. I mean, I only took, a couple of years off to go and innovate a brand new system of astrology that channels cosmic frequency ranges and what's actually and actively being broadcast into the planet so that people always know what's going on with them at any moment in time via the cosmic reality radio that we're getting 24/7 via the sun and the moon. But it's no big deal. No big deal, y'all. Anyways. It really isn't a big deal. It's just another day at the fucking office for me, okay? That's the thing, is actually just all of this. If I'm not baddieing like 24/7, I'm depressing, okay? That's what I've got. That's it. So, it's just the energy. It's the mood. It's the vibe. This is what I do. It's magic. It's my greatest muse. Every artist has to have a muse. And my muse is magic and witchcraft and witchery. And it has been for my entire existence. Because you remember how I told you I began as a concept and a thought? Yeah, that concept and thought was source coded in magic. And so that's what I am. And when I try to be anything else, it just doesn't work. But the thing is, everything is magic. Let's have a dab hit about it. And then I'm going to go have a nap about it, because naps are also magic. And we're going to be talking about dream work a lot coming up soon, both in various aspects of Witchery U and also on the podcast. So stay tuned. Because the way that I was able to decode everything that I have learned over the last 15 years of study and research and in the last almost 8 years of consistent every single day study and research, I realized it's all connected. There is no separation. Nothing is separate. Everything is connected. And the more that you can lean in to that, the more that you can lean into the nap is actually the business move that you need to take right now that's going to spark you entering that frequency range where you just feel like you can relax, you can receive, you can all the things, right? Well, you're going to wake up and have the idea that you've been waiting for. The second you let yourself express what you need and then have it. And that's the last little bit. This is the ultimate hack. Let yourself express what you need and then let yourself have it. If what you need is a certain amount of money a month to feel safe, to feel secure, to feel like you are stable, to feel like you can do scary things, to regulate your nervous system, sometimes what you need is money. Sometimes all you need is money in the bank, and just to feel like, I don't have to worry. I don't have to worry about the finances, right? That is a very real thing for so many people on this planet right now. It's so basic. The bar is below the fucking floor, right? But that's reality for so many people. And if more people just let themselves admit what they actually need and then have it, well, we'd have a lot more happiness and joy and higher vibe frequencies, as the spiritual matrix likes to call them, running around rampant in the world naturally. Right? And if people were able to like express themselves, say what they want to say, do what they want to do, right? Have the careers that they want to have, monetize the things that they want to monetize, talk about the things that they want to talk about, right? Create what they want to create rather than having to create what they think will sell. I think we'd have a lot less people going out and stealing other people's brand language. I think we'd have a lot less people mimicking other people's products, stealing other, literally, I've heard horror stories about people going into people's. This is one of the reasons I have so many protection spells cast on Harvest Rose and all of my items as well. You can't buy my items if you're just trying to copy them. And if you do, oh, honey, that's because you were supposed to get fed what's on the items if you do copy them, which is not very nice, and you earned it. So, I mean, good job, I guess. But that's why. Because, people literally, they've been known to buy people's whole programs and then sell them word for word with they change the colors on the fucking PowerPoint, right? Well, you can't do that with my spells. People have tried over and over and over again, and literally no one's ever been able to replicate me. But you know what people especially can't fucking replicate? It's this art that I draw. So I have a grid now for all of my spells. I will not be doing a spell. If I create a spell that doesn't have a grid, well, I'm drawing a grid for it. And we're going to be seeing those grids popping up in the back of Ultra updates and videos and content and stuff. We're also going to be having prints and downloadable versions of some of the art and grids and stuff coming soon. So you could literally get a print, or I don't know if we're going to do, I don't want to ship prints myself, especially for the next couple of months. We've got some stuff coming up that is we're going to be traveling a little bit. We're going to be exploring some options. If you know, you know. I want to be able to scan a grid or even just take a picture of a grid and have people be able to, I don't know how to do this yet, but I want to be able to have a digital download for people to print on their own, whether that's on a home printer or especially this is such a fabulous idea. You won't be able to resell these, but if you wanted to print the grid on, sticker paper and then slap it on an Avena candle, you got a grid on a candle, honey. I'm obsessed with this idea. People being able to buy a digital download of the grids and work with the magic of the grids with their own spells. I think that's just gonna that's really gonna, it's gonna take things up a notch. So I'm very excited about that. But all kinds of fabulous things coming. No resale rights, but all the personal use that you could want. We want to test getting the grids on stuff. I want to have a blanket that has can you imagine taking a nap under the Rose of Aldebaran grid? If you haven't seen the Rose of Aldebaran grid, we're definitely going to put that on the blog soon. So be watching out for that. We've been blogging a lot also, by the way. So be sure to check out www.harvestrosewitchery.com. Go check out the blog. We have been adding all kinds of content. Michael's been, I say we, but Michael's been doing it. Sometimes I write stuff, but typically that's just me telling him what to type. Or sometimes I've typed it out myself. But I'm gonna be writing more stuff for the blog. We've got some older content that we're also gonna be re-releasing because none of you guys have seen it. or no one's seen it. There's so much stuff. Like I said, I've got so much stuff that's just sitting and hanging out. And I'm like, someone needs to see this. So anyways, definitely go give the blog a subscribe so that you get notified whenever we post. And also, if you're wanting some nostalgia, I highly recommend getting like the WordPress app. I have the Jetpack app that, the Jetpack app that we use because we host on WordPress. So I use the reader on the Jetpack app, but you can get the WordPress app too if you don't like host on WordPress or anything. You can get just like the WordPress app, and you can customize your reader on the WordPress app or on the Jetpack app to be filled with things that you like. And I'm going to be honest, like I've kind of been having a hard time finding anything that I like anywhere, but I have this vision, you guys, right? Of like being able to like wake up in the morning and have my coffee and my morning dabs and like chill and like, you know, instead of scrolling on social media, you know, I open up like WordPress and I'm reading people's blogs again, right? And then, you know, maybe I open up Witchery.eu, right? And I'm reading things that people have posted in there. Or, you know, maybe one day other people have other Mighty networks or other things, you know, that I'm a member of, and I get to go in there and like, you know, read that stuff, right? I love having a good read in the morning, and it really fell out of fashion with all of the fucking doom scrolling, and I'm just too smart for that. I'm sorry. I need something good to read, you guys. Can you guys please go out and can you all go write a blog for me? I'll read it. I'll like it. I'll subscribe. Okay. Just write something in authentic self-expression. Please give me some good reading material, you guys. If you're an artist, if you're a musician, like we're not even writing think pieces or anything over here. I'm talking about like taking, you know, my description of like the Eye of Aldebaran painting and uploading that into a blog on the website. So that, you know, with a stylistic picture of the Eye of Aldebaran painting, and you know, then people can enjoy like just, we need more beauty and we need more creativity in the world right now, and we need more authentic self-expression, and like this is how you spark a renaissance, you know. And it's like I tend to live missions in years, and the being in the mountains when Helene hit was not a coincidence for us. We were here to do massive planetary work after the storm hit, and we did. We did an immense amount. And that's just kind of drawing to a close, and it's about to be a new kind of era for us, and we're very excited. I said the night Helene hit because I was doing massive magic and interdimensional work while the storm was going as well. And then in the time that followed. And I was like, this is my last apocalypse. I was like, I'm only doing renaissances from now on. Because since 2020, I've been like, y'all, I never miss an apocalypse. And I haven't, but this is my last one. This is my last apocalypse. I don't have to do any more apocalypses. We don't have any more apocalypses coming. It's now time to spark a renaissance. And so it's Libra season. Happy Libra season, everybody. We survived fucking summer portal season. We survived eclipse season. It is Libra season. Your girl has her midheaven in Libra. I am here for the balance. I'm here for the luxury witch vibes. I'm here for the vibes in general. I'm here for the party time. Yes. Let's go. And it's time to spark a renaissance with this Libra season. And so the way that we spark a renaissance is through, you know, for a collective, is through sparking a renaissance for the individual. And renaissances are sparked through a newfound freedom in authentic self-expression. And I think that the more that we can collectively tune into our own individual expression and creativity and authenticity, the more that we'll be able to spark that for other people in the collective. And it's like, just like you doing it for yourself and living that and showing other people you in that embodiment. That's what embodiment is, right? You living as that spark, as that flame, as that torch. You know, it's like, how can you be a lighthouse of your own authentic self-expression? How can you just 360? We're about to go see some lighthouses, you guys. I'm so fucking, I can't even, I'm gonna, I think it's gonna be a surprise where we're going. We're about to go on a trip. We're going on a little trippy trip. We're gonna go do some little trippy trip things. Very excited. We have not been on a trip now in almost a year and a half. We get to leave the mountains. We're going to go on a trippy trip. We're going to go do a little travel witching. We're going to see if we like it. We're going to see what the vibes are. Who knows? We'll find out. So I think I'm going to keep it a little quiet, maybe until we get there. We don't know exactly when we're going. We don't like to plan things too much. We're very we know when the vibe's right, But we're going to go on a little trippy trip. And we're going to go see some lighthouses. And I'm very excited, because I love lighthouses. But I've really been thinking about this lighthouse imagery for a little bit of how can you, because lighthouses go in a 360, right? And, it's very much, lighthouses both draw people to them, right? People love to go visit a lighthouse, but then they also keep ships away from the shoreline that will damage them. And I think that so much of the issue that we have going on right now in the world is people thinking that they need to be for everyone. I'm not for everyone. If you don't like me, if I trigger the fuck out of you, if you just hate listening to my voice, please go listen to somebody that you enjoy and go work with them. I don't want your money. And let's just not be in each other's realities, and then you can go thrive over there and I'll thrive over here, and that's great. You know what I mean? And that's why I also am I'm never going to start a fight, but I'll finish it if you gonna start it. You know what I mean? Because I'm just go thrive in your own energy. Go thrive in your own vibe. Don't come try to get mine. You know what I mean? And so much of the issues that I've had have been people trying to come thrive in my vibe instead of being their own fucking vibe. You know what I mean? And I encourage you to just, if you experience that, or if you even have just fear of experiencing that, right? Just know that the more authentic you are to your magic and yourself, the less anybody can copy you. The less you give a flying fuck if anybody tries. Because the truth is, you're the one that's going to endure. Right? You're the one that's going to continue. It's your magic. You're the source of it. They can't take it if you're the source of it. So when you know thyself and you know what your source codes are, you know what you're the source of, you know what your domain is. And when you know what your domain is, that is the thing that you can fly the most with. Right? So, anyways, on that note, I feel like Michael's almost home, and I'm excited. So, I hope you have a fabulous rest of your day. We will be back soon. I'm going to be talking about dream work soon. I don't know exactly which episode that's going to be, but I'm going to be talking about dreams. I'm going to be talking about dreams a lot, so just stay tuned. But I'm going to be talking about dreams and dream work and astral travel in your dreams and how to stop going into funky places in your dreams if you accidentally are astral traveling into places that are not a fucking vibe. We're going to be talking about all kinds of stuff. We're also going to be talking about some different things too. I don't know what we're going to be talking about entirely coming up, but I do know that the dream work is a very important part of it. We're also going to be talking about some more of the cosmic frequency ranges, the cosmic astrology system, and I don't know, stuff and things and magic. And you guys, it is officially shadow season, which is my favorite season. It's shadow season, you guys. I'm banging my pots and pans like, Hades, the fuck are you? Come out, wherever you are. I know you're on this planet somewhere, bitch. Now, where you is? Okay, anyways, I've had a fit enough. No, I haven't. Hey, I did this with Michael, okay? Michael's code name was Helios, though. I like to use code names for my people that align with Greek mythology or other mythologies. Or maybe that was just one of their names at one point in time. One just never knows, you know. Anything's possible. That's my second favorite time of year, is anything is possible time. Did you guys know that anything is possible time is early December to mid-December when the Santa Anas are blowing in Southern California? And that's because it's from the film The Holiday. And the Santa Anas are blowing and they're like, anything is possible. And I was like, hells yeah, it is. I always love that part. So anyways, there's a siren. Hades! Roger! We love a good summoning. It's fun. Come on. Just a little as a treat. Never hurt nobody. Little party never killed nobody. We gonna dance until we drop. I did the Charleston to that song, which is a little party. Is it a little party never hurt nobody or a little party never killed nobody? I think it's a little party never hurt nobody. Anyway, something like that by Fergie. I did the Charleston to that in a goth club in Dallas for my 31st birthday, which was fabulous. Oh, yay, Michael has returned. Okay, well, on that note, I will talk to you later, baddies, about a fabulous variety of subjects. Mwah!